welcome back to Pixels and Pints. Joining me tonight, as usual, is Dan.
I was just about to take a sip. You caught me off.
Sorry. And Tom. And on a rare occasion, Loki. And I'm Pete.
Oh, it's because I'm wearing green. It's Loki's colour.
And we're going to talk the usual shit about our favourite pop culture, video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, occasionally board games. In fact, we won't cover board games this time, but I think we will next episode.
Oh, yeah. Maybe next episode. Maybe the one after.
Yeah.
Find some time.
And while we're doing that, we'll be sampling some good old Aussie Craft Beer, which I think we're going to start off with. And we're in person for a change.
We are.
Now that I don't have COVID and I'm all safe and stuff. It's been 4 weeks since our last recording.
It has.
Yeah.
It's been exactly a month. Yeah.
Things happen.
Life happens.
Life happens. COVID happens, doesn't it, Loki? You never caught it, did you?
He did.
Did you?
Actually, they both did.
Oh, you got it.
They both experienced mild flu-like symptoms.
You got the Rona. You got the Rona, Loki.
You diseased fuck.
And I know that it's corona because they've never been outside. They've never been exposed to other cats. And I don't even come within 20 feet of another cat.
Yeah.
So he got the sniffles and an infected eye. And then a couple of days later, Kara got the sniffles and an infected eye. And then they were fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Happy days.
Keep your Rona to yourself. I haven't had it, Loki.
All right, let's kick off with some beers. What are we trying first, please, Tom?
Oh, we're starting non-alcoholic. I thought this was...
I don't know why.
Because
It's got coffee in it.
It's got coffee in it.
I asked the same question and then
You know
I
what else has
realised
got coffee
it
in
had
it?
Coffee in it.
My coffee grinder.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you should clean that out after every use. This is the Heaps Normal Coffee Run Stout. It's their latest release. This is the fourth non-alcoholic beer they've done. It comes in at less than 0.5% alcohol. They've partnered with Floozy Coffee, which are some sort of coffee roastery, I'm assuming around Marrickville because that's where they're based. And look, these guys are pretty much I would happily say, best non-alc beer producers on the market at the moment.
I really want to say a saying that I say all the time, but I can't put it on because it's so politically incorrect. I can't say it.
Probably best not then.
I disagree there.
Really?
But yeah, cool.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Who's better? Go.
I like the Capital one better. I think the Capital one...
Oh, the Alkless?
Yeah, it tastes more like a beer.
Have you had their hazy one, though? Their hazy pale version?
No, because I haven't had good... Do you mind? Really? No, I haven't had the hazy one.
The hazy one's actually the best of the bunch they've do because they got the XBA, which was the first. They did the lager, which was way too thin, but that's always going to happen with a non-alc lager. Then they called it the half day hazy, and that is up there as one of the best I think I've tasted in terms of its body and mouthfeel.
Yeah, I mean that's what lets down, and that's what's letting this down too is body and mouthfeel. This is just like a cup of cold brew coffee.
Yeah,
it's pleasant. Tastes
very
nice.
pleasant.
I
Yeah.
like cold brew,
Yeah.
so it's got that coffee character to it. Pete's.
We're not recording. Right. So Heaps Normal. What is it called?
Heaps Normal Coffee Run Stout.
Coffee Run Stout. Thank you.
Yes, it is. It is just basically it's lacking that body that you would normally get.
It's super thin.
Yeah, but it's got a really nice, coffee flavor to it.
Yeah.
The coffee character is really good. I'd like, but
If anything, it's like a showcase for the coffee roastery.
more than the brewery. Exactly.
I got to be honest. To me, it's a carbonated, a cold brew coffee.
Cold brew coffee. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just was about to say, I wonder how much the can costs versus a can of cold brew.
But it's alcohol free. What is the beery part of it?
It's got hops. Ingredients include water, malted barley, oats, hops, and cold brew. And
Okay.
yeast.
I can't taste anything other than cold brew and
There might be a bit of an oaty background to it, but
yeah.
but
I imagine the oats would try and give it a bit more body.
yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is.
Failed.
I won't go into the technicality of it yet here. We don't need to cover it. I don't think.
Fair enough. Out of 5, I reckon it's a 3.
Yeah, I'd probably
It's
go
a
with
meh.
3. It's
It's
a
a meh.
non-alc coffee stout.
Yeah, just it needs a bit more body, and hopefully, it is their limited. I think they did it 4 gabs, so it'd be interesting to see if they do another version of it where they go back and have a look. But yeah, if that's the thing. If I was on a thing where I was like, needed something non-alcoholic for whatever reason, like I'd happily pick that up though. Like I guess that's the thing.
I would drink that.
Yeah.
You're right. As a non-alc, you'd drink that as opposed to the other non-alcs that I'd use as paint thinner.
Yeah.
I just wonder how many milligrams of caffeine there is. Anyway,
I don't know, Dan.
Continue.
Let's just see.
Yeah,
As the night goes on.
Drink a whole 375 mil. That's why they don't do cold brews in 375s, isn't it?
They should tell you. It should tell you how much caffeine's there.
You guys go bust into the news, and I'll let you know if I
Oh,
find
yeah, I
it.
should probably bring up the notes.
Yes.
I'm used to having my computer here.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm very confused. Where am I?
I don't know anyone's name without IMDb.
We interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news from the front.
We can still work that out.
We'll get that in. Well, we'll just get the... we've got sad news that we'll get out of the way because it is sad. If anyone hadn't seen the news in the last few days, Ray Stevenson passed away at 58, which is shockingly young, really.
It is really, really young.
From what I read, he was in Italy at the time. For those who aren't, Ray Stevenson's face isn't coming to mind. He was in Rome. He was the Punisher in Punisher Warzone. He was Volstagg in the first 2 Thor films. He was one of my favorite roles he did was the South African head of security in The Other Guys, the Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, he was great in that. And then he's set to appear in Ahsoka as a
They're gonna have to
Dark
figure that out,
Force
right?
user.
Dark Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a damn shame we're not going to get him to continue that role.
Yeah.
And I loved Punisher.
And he was
Warzone.
in Rebels as well. Yes, he was. He was Gar Saxon in Rebels.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna get pushed off the fucking table again, Loki.
Yeet that cat.
He was going to walk across the soundboard, like the recorder.
DJ
before.
Loki.
Yeah, more like turned off the recording, Loki. Next one, fucking these stupid game developer companies. PlayStation CEO has just confirmed that he intends to increase PlayStation exclusive titles and continue to stagger releases to PC, meaning they are focusing on PlayStation console hardware, and if they get to it, when they get to it, they'll do ports. So,
Because that's worked out so well for them lately.
and exactly the same time, we got the news that the European Union has approved the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger.
Oh, did they approve it?
Yeah. So the UK antitrust laws rejected it,
Yeah.
but the EU approved it. So it's kind of reopened that discussion.
Weird.
Yeah. This fucking cat, I told you, that's all he wanted was a lap because
Yep.
he's cold.
Yeah.
Get him a little jumper.
I'm going to get him, I'm going to turn him into a fucking little jumper.
Pair of socks at least.
Next one.
I'm excited about this one. So the Backbone one, I believe we've talked about the Backbone one before. It's essentially to create a visual, which I'm sure Peter will chuck up on the video. It's a set of controller holes, like switch. What am I calling them? Nunchucks. Let's go with nunchucks. That slide onto your phone, so you can use your phone as a remote play item. I don't know why words just failed me then, but hey.
You say just thought when you said Pete will throw up a visual, I just imagine him just sitting there, like then cutting to him at his desk with like a pad and a pencil, and just quickly drawing out this
drawing it out.
almost
Like a crime sketch,
like a stick figure version of what you're talking about.
But he's got to do it on one of those the twisty knobs.
Etch-a-sketch.
sketches. So they currently exist for. There's an Android and iPhone model that exists. They have since for the PlayStation users, they have paired up and released an iPhone one. The Android releases in July. It's cost you about $180. But the best thing is it's the only mobile controller officially recognized by the PlayStation Remote Play app as an actual DualSense controller, which means it'll work pretty seamlessly with PS4 and PS5 games remotely. So,
Can I say something out of pure ignorance here?
sure.
It says DualSense controller. Does it use do they have vibrate functions in the like attachments, or does it use
I don't
something
know.
through the phone, or you don't know? Okay. Okay, so it wasn't such a dumb question.
No, it's
You
probably
were the only one who called it a dumb question.
You weren't accused of anything.
I thought it was going to be these ones where you go, fucking, of course it does. Like,
No,
why
no,
would
no.
they?
You
Why
just
would
got to
they?
sit there and go like that.
It's the self-rumble pack. I presumed it meant that it was recognised as a DualShock for the purposes of the game registering that there's a controller plugged in. And so it has to identify itself as a type of controller, and it's saying that it has all the right buttons in all the right places to proxy as a proper DualSense. I doubt it's going to have fucking variable.
Well, the little Switch
triggers and
ones
shit.
do, don't they?
Variable, like the variable strength that they
don't
built
know.
into the DualSense.
I don't have a Switch.
No, there's basically no. There's like a little bit of feedback, but nothing compared to like.
Wasn't that one of the big things with Switch when they first announced those little tiny controllers? I don't even know what they're called.
I can't remember off the top of my head either.
They're not
I want
nunchucks.
to call them
that
a
was the
Joy-Con.
Wii.
Is it a Joy-Con?
Joy-Con, yeah, I think
Is
that's
that what they're called? There was this big thing about like just standing there and like drinking because it's got a bloody sensor in it and playing party games.
Yeah,
with
I
it.
don't use it like that though. I literally just hold it. It's just the one thing. I never take them off, so I've never actually
Oh,
played
so you
around
don't know
with
whether the little ones have anything of their own.
it. No, that's Switches for bedtime. It's just sit there and
Bedtime.
play little Mario Sunshine. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep. There is a PlayStation showcase going live tomorrow. Tomorrow our time. We're currently on a Wednesday. This will be out on a weekend, so it'll already be out, and you can watch it if you haven't already.
If I get around to it, it might be out tomorrow night.
whatever.
Although I just got notified that from 5 p.m. tomorrow, my internet's going to be out. So
Uh-oh.
maybe not.
They say that, and it's only ever out for like 30 seconds.
It's the last 3 weekends in a row. It's supposed to have been out from 2 p.m. until like 4 a.m. on Monday, and they just the next week nothing happens.
Yeah.
No outage.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there ready with all my old man books and stuff to go analog, and then it just never goes out. And then the next weekend they schedule the exact same outage. It's like the 4th attempt now.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, random.
Yeah, there you go. There's a gaming showcase tomorrow. It's we don't.
It's over an hour of new game footage.
I was going to say, have we got any suspicions of what we'll see?
There'll be a couple of all those exclusive titles we were just kind of talking about, the new ones from all the studios that PlayStation slowly
Sure,
been,
there'll be another 11.
bringing into the family, as they say.
Another 11 Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
No, the Ubisoft one is in June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you think we'll see something new?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
just pre-announced stuff?
No, I think it's meant to be a whole bunch of new stuff. Yeah. So it's an hour tomorrow. It'll be. It doesn't matter because this is going to be released after it, but it's going to be 6 a.m. Sydney time. But then June, there's like 8 more showcases scheduled for June. So that's like Summer Games Fest. There's a whole bunch that are coming out.
It kind of feels like a bit of a dip in releases at the moment in terms of video games. There's games coming out.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's not like there's 5 AAA titles coming out a month at the moment.
There was a small title release the other week that's blown up the internet. Some Zelda game,
fucking, something
I don't
about
know.
Link.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Well, I don't have a Switch, and I've only barely played Breath of the Wild, but I didn't actually realize that was the day that it was being released until somebody said something the day before, and I'm like, fuck, that came around real quick. Everybody was complaining for years that they hadn't seen any footage on it, and now all of a sudden...
It actually had a really short... It was kind of refreshing. It wasn't... You knew it was coming. There was like a release like a year or two ago, and they're like, yeah, we're making it. And then radio silence until like... I'd say maybe 3 months I've seen some stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really short, which I think is a much better move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some of those ones that they did at
The long drawn out hype, and by the time it's released, no one gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that happens all the time.
E3 and that they've done. I don't know if it was E3 or Summer Games Fest, but there've been a couple of times over the years where people have announced something at a showcase and then they're gone, and it's out next week. And you're going, oh fuck, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Better go get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got the opposite where they announce it, and it's like, where is Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Yeah,
It's never coming, Pete.
yeah, lost in the ether. That
just
one.
like Star
It
Wars
was-
1313 is never coming. We've got to get over them.
But from my perspective, it was just Beyond Good and Evil 2 was just a good cinematic trailer. That's
Yeah.
all it represents to me. It was just like, that looks like a cinematic trailer for a game I would like to play, please.
Yeah.
That's it. Didn't know what kind of game it'd be.
Well, you never know. Between June 8th and 13th, you might see some more of it. Who knows? Maybe that's the big secret release they're bringing out for this year.
Yeah.
I can't edit that page, so I'm just I gotta.
Do you want a pen and paper?
Nah, it's all right.
Okay.
I'll work it out.
Where's the whiteboard when you need it?
Yeah.
And then Netflix. My last little bit is Netflix have finally started to do their crackdown
In Australia?
in Australia. As of today, they're going to start cracking down on IPs using the same account from different IPs that aren't like in the same household.
Which is fucking stupid.
But then you can, for an extra $8 a month, you can add like a second
family account.
Yeah, essentially.
It's so stupid. My mobile phone has a completely different IP from a different IP range.
So they're going to connect they're basically connecting the account to whatever the home network is. So imagine if it's on your TV, they'll identify that as your home network kind of thing. So your mobile device needs to connect to that home network once a month to not get locked out.
Okay.
Is what I read today.
So okay. I mean, I can already get around that solution.
He is Le Hacksaw.
No. But it's not even that difficult. Like as long as you've got a modem or a router that has a VPN endpoint on it, that you can create a VPN service.
Yeah.
You can have a remote device connect into your network. I don't know specifically what kind of technology it uses.
You might need to look into this and see if this is actually. I cannot confirm or deny.
I pay for Netflix, so it makes two shits of difference to me. But
yeah, we'd never share logins for anything. Thank you. That's all.
I gave you the key to my heart, though, Tom.
I
melted it down.
I was just getting rid of your coffee. You had a little bit in the bottom there.
Next bit of news. After our comments on... Thank you. Sorry for listeners not watching it on YouTube. One, watch it on YouTube. And two, Dan was just passing me beer. After our comments on how psychopathic we felt playing Hogwarts Legacy, where we would go out and commit mass murder, use all of the unspeakable curses, and then just go back to school like nothing happened.
Or even if you cast it in front of someone, they'd be like, that's bad, but that'd be it. Yeah.
Oh, are we using the unspeakables, are we? Or, I can't remember the exact quote. A data miner named Grand Theft Diamonds on YouTube actually reverse engineered or took a look into the game files and found that they'd built a morality system into the game and a house points system into the game, and then clearly didn't finish it in time and just abandoned it.
Murder was worth 100 points.
It was. Sleeping class was 10 points. Yeah. So 10 classes slept in is the equivalent of manslaughter. From a morality perspective.
Manslaughter or just straight up cold murder?
Cold-blooded murder.
Yep.
Yeah. The next one, I think I don't remember. This may be us repeating ourselves, which I'm sure would never happen before. Witcher multiplayer spin-off Project Sirius is now officially on hold while they review it. And they have laid off 30 developers from the Molasses Flood indie development house that they bought and then handed this to. So that doesn't bode well.
We've definitely done the first part of that news, not the second part. So there we go. We've updated some old news.
Yes.
Yeah. And
how's that for good journalism?
We like to be current. We like to be current around here.
Yeah, I do like that CD Projekt Red has the balls to just shutter a project or rethink it, no matter how deep in it is. It's just a shame that they bought an indie development house and then sacked 30 staff.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they didn't plan it that way, but I don't think the staff would really give a shit what was planned as to the outcome.
They need to be able to make these mothball decisions after Cyberpunk.
Yeah, they really do.
If they didn't and released another, people would lose faith in them.
Oh, that's what everyone reckons they're going to see at the showcase. One of the showcases coming up is going to be the Cyberpunk DLC. They're talking Phantom Legacy.
Phantom Liberty.
Liberty.
Yeah. I'll get through this last piece of news because I need to talk about this beer, and I'm sure Dan probably feels the same way. Just the writer's strike.
It's the really low one as well.
Yeah. No, I went and looked at that for that reason, not to be too harsh.
The writer's strike. So there's another writer's strike. We had one. It's been a while since the last one.
It's been
that was
15 years.
The start of Bearded Conan when he was like
Bearded Conan.
Remember he
No, I never watched Conan.
Oh, Conan O'Brien. Yeah, when he started had to do all this. And he grew a big orange beard in solidarity with the writer's strike.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually some of his best work. It was like him back on The Simpsons when he was like absolute gold. But yeah.
So a lot of shows affected at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Shitloads. One of the ones that I like that tweaked, the thing that grabbed my interest first was The Last of Us 2 has just stopped in its tracks. So The Last of Us Season 2 has stopped in its tracks. They hadn't even started casting. They were about to start casting all the new roles. And have stopped as a result of the writer's strike. Apparently, this one is a lot of the attention is focused on how little royalties writers are paid for streaming content.
Yeah, so, it's something stupid like 0.003 cents an episode or something. One of the persons shared their like actual paycheck, and it was just like that's all they got.
Yeah, and it's so they get paid considerably
per episode.
Yeah.
For like, and does that go up per view or
No, but
like
that's the problem. It doesn't go up per view. So the amount that they would get paid in a traditional model of putting it out on a television channel is considerably higher than if it gets picked up by Netflix and streamed, or Stan or whoever. I'm not picking on Netflix specifically, but their contracts are stuck in the dark ages, pre-streaming, and they're not getting recognised financially for the streaming era that we currently live in. It's very similar to the conversations we had about the big stars not getting paid enough for streaming releases. They only got paid on cinema box office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like during lockdown. Yeah.
I
So
vaguely remember the discussion.
yeah. So actors have already had this argument and presumably found some sort of middle ground that everyone's happy with now, because it's otherwise it'd still be in the news.
Yeah.
And now the writers are doing the same thing, and good on them too.
Oh, without the we've seen
what happens without the writers.
We've seen the effect of without the writers.
You end up
Or
with a fucking podcast called Pixels and Pints.
Yeah, without decent writers. I mean, you see the actors have nothing to go with, and so you fucking pay them.
And you end up with dipshits who can't write, trying to write
exactly
content, and it's terrible.
If they pay the good ones well,
Yeah.
or even pay the good ones well to mentor the poor ones or the younger ones to come up through, get better shows out there, get more people watching streaming services instead of everybody abandoning them at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's a no-brainer, really. But I guess they're losing money left, right, and center anyway, because just aren't Netflix in some horrible like hole? I know they don't release their financials, but isn't there something going around that Netflix loses X amount of $1 million every month for?
That's probably coming down from when they were the only ones doing it.
Yeah. And they've still got a shit ton of content on there compared to most of them.
Yeah. But I'm not really, or they're not really picking on Netflix specifically. But yeah, I think you're right around Netflix has a big deficit. But you know, the other reality is the capitalist society we live in means shareholders need to see increasing profits indefinitely.
Yeah.
And
instead of just cruising on breaking even.
there's
Cruising on breaking even most of my life.
might even be an episode title in that somewhere. But yeah, I mean, shareholders want to see ever increasing profits.
Yeah.
And so we have to, if you don't have more money coming in the top, then you have to take it. You have to rob your staff. So
And the creatives. Yeah.
yeah. Well, on that fucking kind of depressing note, we'll move on to the second beer.
Hey, you fucking riders, you dogs.
Yeah.
This is yours you can introduce again.
This is the Sonny and Cher Hazy Small Double Dry Hopped. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right.
No, I think it's just the Sonny and Cher Hazy.
Yeah, it reads weird on the label. Yeah, it's from Loophole Brewing, who are in South Australia. There we go. They're in Robe, South Australia, which I didn't know existed. So this has been fun for me. This is it's a Triticale. Yeah,
It's a what?
Triticale. I love a Triticale. Is that a brewing term I know that Dan doesn't?
No.
Fuck yes, I am the king.
It's too much time with Liam.
No, because we make
technical Cicerone.
No, it's not. It's not a Cicerone statement. They don't fucking know what they're talking about. So it's brewed from the same mash as their hazy double IPA, and then they use the runoff to make a smaller beer. So you make the big beer, and then you make the small beer out of the same grains. Yeah, we've done it. Yeah, I know that Red's done it a few times. So this small hazy sits a little lower in bitterness, but packs a nice hoppy floral combo of orange, melon, and fresh cut pine. They use Astra, Cashmere, and Vic's Secret hops. But yeah. So yeah, this is Triticale. That's my fun word for the episode.
How do you spell it?
Tritacle.
Wasn't it on the can?
No, that's my memory coming in. Well done, Tom's brain still working.
It's quite juicy on the nose. It's pith. It's not even orange pith. It's more like the white inside of the orange pith.
Stuff,
and otherwise, that's on the nose and a little bit of the flavor profile. But otherwise, it's like making love in a canoe.
But it's 3.7%.
Sure, but I
think it's quite full and grassy on when you actually get it
In your fucking
in your
mouth
palate,
hole.
in your palate. Yeah, I get a bit of not a huge amount of that bitterness, but I do get a decent amount of that bitterness at the back.
There's just no body to it.
But that
I know it's 3.7%, but I've had plenty of
it's-
table beers that are fucking.
but they're not brewed off the same mash. That's the whole thing. It's the technical aspect.
So they should get points for recycling.
yes.
Can I play a bubble burster for a sec? Sure. Triticale is a type of a hybrid of wheat and rye.
Well, what am I thinking of then?
Not a technique.
Oh no, it is. It's what's it called? Maybe I don't remember shit then.
Okay.
What's the beer? What do you think of the beer, Dan?
I think the hop profile it's trying to be a big beer in a little body, and
It's so thin. It's
it's
so,
super thin.
so thin.
Yeah, it's super. That's what I mean.
Partaguile.
Particle.
It's close.
My volume's up too loud. I feel like you guys are yelling.
So what is that? That's like a double mash or something, is it?
Essentially, yeah. So you make the first beer at quite a high ABV.
High gravity, yeah.
And then you use that all to make the
wort.
second. Yeah.
You use the wort to mash in a second time to make. Yeah. So it's a double mash. I mean, without the fancy word.
No, 2 beers from a single mash. Yeah.
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 Oh, 2 beers from a single mash.
Yeah.
So they split the wort out.
No, I think they use the grain again.
They use the grain again.
In next episode, more long pauses followed by deeply technical beer discussion.
Yes.
Well, the people
Some
are always asking
silences.
to explain what these beers are.
That's fair.
Yeah.
James did ask for that. Then he moved to another
Damn it.
state, and we don't care anymore. James.
But finish my thought on the beer. I think once again, it's trying to be a big beer in a little body, but I would drink that for a 3.7% mid sort of hoppy product. I don't mind that.
I just think there's better table beers out there.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, there's basically no body to it, which allows that sort of orangey bitterness, that harsh bitterness to come through.
I've got to say that the fact that I detect the ins, like the rind, rather than the pith, is very subtle. And if it had a heavier body, it would wipe that subtlety away.
100%. If it had some residual sugar in that in there, but it's really dry and really thin. Yeah.
We do have a few more of these. I'll have to see if we have the double IPA, and I'll see if I'll
Well, that would be cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Partigal Brewing, not Triticale. God damn it, Tom. Brains still don't work. Anyway, technical terminologies.
Just make sure you don't throw the cans away because I'm not really keeping up with the show notes on what we're drinking. Out of 5 people?
I'm going to give that a 4.
4?
Yeah, probably
3.75?
no lower than that. I think
3.5?
3.
Going
3.
once?
3. I'll only do quarter points when I'm at home.
So you're doing 3, you're doing 4, and I'm doing...
Whatever you want.
Don't think I haven't noticed your quarter points, motherfucker.
I can rate whatever the...
Yeah, he didn't make us take a stand on that shit. You
Yeah.
did, mate.
Oh no, I don't mean tonight.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean at other times.
Right.
I've been rating Dan's beers online.
With all quarter points.
Yep.
Good work. Good
And
work.
didn't I? Wasn't I tempted? 1. Fucking shit.
It doesn't taste like a sour, and it's a double dry hopped IPA. All right, let's get into some mini reviews. Actually, it's all going to be me unless you guys have some that you forgot to write down.
I have not watched a thing lately. I have. Well, not
It's
that I've
been
finished.
4 weeks. I haven't watched anything recently, but it's been 4 weeks. So
I like to. Besides, because we're doing the Mando wrap up later, I want to do that for I think I got 2 episodes left of Ted Lasso, and I'll do the Ted Lasso wrap up.
cool.
Yeah.
So the first movie I wanted to review just briefly was Ghosted, which we talked about with De Arms. Is it De Arms?
Anna de Arms.
Anna De Arms and the legs. And
Captain America.
Captain America is exactly where I was going to go. It's like
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. I knew he was
See,
a
this is what
Chris.
happens when I don't have a
I knew
IMDb
he
in front
was
of
a
me.
Chris.
One of the Chris's.
You know what? It's exactly what I expected it to be, which was a fun, don't take it too seriously action movie with gender role reversal. But it wasn't overplayed gender role reversal either. It was just it's what it is. She's the super spy, and he's the bumbling kind of fucking tag along.
Yeah.
With a completely unrealistic kind of climax where suddenly he has just through osmosis become also a super spy right at the end.
Oh, that happens.
So, well, not so much a super spy. He becomes an action hero. Suddenly he's extremely comfortable around guns and is very good at aiming them, even though he spent the entire movie being a bumbling fool. So, but I laughed in the right spots, and it wasn't
what you want.
It wasn't terrible. It was good, honest fun. And then just to bring the mood down, I watched the Michael J. Fox documentary called Still, which I believe is an Apple documentary. It was excellent, but like obviously really fucking sad.
Yeah.
But like just really fucking great the way that it told Michael's story of his, how he was found in was it Family Matters? I think it was Family Matters.
yeah.
And then he got his part in Back to the Future, and he was only allowed to do the part if he never skipped any episodes of Family Matters. So he was sleeping for 3 hours, being driven to one set by one guy, and then driven to the next set, and then driven home, and then picked up 3 hours later. And he did that for 3 months.
He did look very tired in if you go back and watch Back to the Future, he did look very tired and dishevelled.
And then when
He
he's
was playing a high school teenager.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it
Worked perfectly.
like during the intro, he sleeps in, doesn't he? And then he's got a hightail. He's got a hightail at the school anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I assume Dan as well, and potentially Tom. But I grew up with watching Michael J. Fox movies as we were kids.
Yeah,
growing
definitely.
Up.
Yeah.
So,
I grew up with Family Matters.
Yeah. Well, I have to admit, I never really watched much of Family Matters, but certainly all the movies, and even Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, yeah.
Teen Wolf, yeah.
And then all of the Back to the Futures, obviously. But even stuff that comes to mind. So watching through it, then he's diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He hides it. He uses drugs and a lot of alcohol to try and hide it from everybody. And then they show you footage, just clips from movies that I've seen a million times. And once you know what to look for, he's visibly fucking shaking in some of those shots. And no one knew. Until he announced it publicly, no one knew.
Well, they wouldn't have been looking for it.
Yeah, and the other thing he said is I found I could control it beyond the pills. He said he became a genius in like doing on the fly mental arithmetic as to if I take the tablet now, it'll kick in at exactly this part of this scene, so that I know I've got to use my hands for the scene. But he said as long as I had something in my hand would stop shaking. So you watch all these movies and all these clips, he's always got something in his hand. A clipboard, a phone, whatever it is, a towel. Mm-hmm. In so many of his sequences, he's holding something to hide the fact that he's got Parkinson's.
Yeah, right.
And then obviously it also kind of cuts between present day and how it's affecting him and the pain and the physicality of his disease. The Fox Foundation, which really was one of the first organisations to inject funding into research into Parkinson's in a big way.
Yep.
And then cuts back to some of the stuff in his kind of history. And his wife's there and his kids and all the rest of it. It's a really beautiful documentary. It's well cut together.
What's it on?
I think it's Apple TV.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, they do a lot of good content. It's not to say that everything Apple TV Plus has released is awesome, but everything I've ever watched that they've released has been awesome. So I'm just worried about confirmation bias. There could be a bunch of shit stuff too that I've never seen.
Yeah, there's that Foundation show. That was pretty shit.
Fuck you, man.
Got him. Absolutely.
He couldn't let it go.
Absolutely derailed him.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's worth watching. And yeah. Anyway, and then the third and final before we get into Ant-Man 3, because I know you've seen that. I don't think Dan ever wants to. I watched The Whale.
Oh, the Brendan Fraser one. Yep.
I thoroughly.
He won the Oscar for that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I want to say that I enjoyed it as entertainment in terms of its media is designed to entertain, but it wasn't really a feel good movie. It was an honest accounting of somebody who suffered from like morbid obesity. I think it's actually super morbid obesity, which is one stage past that, and the effects on relationships and his relationship with food is kind of. It's not. He didn't dive deep into the relationship with food, but it's certainly present.
Yeah.
His relationship with his carer and his daughter. It felt like it's a full length movie, but it felt really short. Have you seen it?
No.
it felt really short. I got to the end and the climax, the emotional climax and the anti-climax and then curtains, and it was like a 20-minute movie.
Yeah.
But it was a 90-minute movie.
Yeah, right.
It just sucked me straight in. So I know it got a lot of grief from various groups that I don't necessarily agree with some of them, but I thought it was a really good. It was worth telling the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's good for Brendan Fraser to get that,
Fucking killed it too.
Yeah.
He really
by all
killed
accounts, yeah.
it. He's an actor that needs to come back into Hollywood. Yeah.
This is the mini review section. I got caught up reading these brewing processes, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Did you have a mini review?
I do. It's one
Good,
that one that I kept forgetting to mention. We months ago, because we've watched fuck all for the last 3 weeks, other than Grand Designs, because I love Grand Designs.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
You've
mate,
never seen Grand Designs?
it's Grand Designs.
Oh, Pete, you're missing out. Grand Designs UK. Don't worry about Australia and New Zealand. Just watch Grand Designs UK.
Does it have anyone that says it will kill?
No.
Because I got the exact same reaction when I said I'd never watched that either.
No, Grand Designs isn't for everybody, but
Okay.
I like it. Banshees of Inisherin.
With Colin Farrell and
Brendan Gleeson. I had to look up who
Yeah.
the Brendan Gleeson character was.
It is it's on the list to watch.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. It's set on a single Irish island.
Yeah.
And everybody knows each other. It's set in the, I don't want to get the year wrong, so maybe Pete can quickly Google that.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you said it was called.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, okay. It's set during the Civil War in Ireland, where the IRA's on the rise and everything's going off, and they can hear bombs and the war going off on the mainland.
So World War One. So 1912-ish.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, from my vague recollection of being engrossed in Michael Connolly, the movie, because that's kind of a story about that.
Okay, I think
I'm
Tom's
looking
it up.
No, you keep talking.
Cool.
I'll look it up.
It is set on the one island. It's set about two friends, and apparently it's an analogy between
1923.
There we go. An analogy between the IRA and the Irish government. And
Right.
I won't go into what actually happens in it, but you see it in the ads, Colin Farrell and his best friend, the Brendan Gleeson character. They're at the pub together every day, and
Saw a short for this, and
Brendan Gleeson just goes to him, I don't think I like you anymore, and we need to part ways, but
There's nowhere to go.
There's fuck all people on the island, and Colin Farrell pushes the fact and pushes the fact and pushes the fact, and shit unfolds that you don't expect.
Right.
And it just goes on, and it
is it a Cairns film?
it might have been, yeah. It was funny until it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was one of those
Shit gets real quickly.
Yeah, well, not really. It goes for about. It probably turns quite serious about just after halfway.
Okay.
And then gets real serious after that, and you kind of go, oh, I feel bad about laughing at this to start with, but it was thoroughly enjoyable the whole time through. Didn't skip a beat, and I haven't watched a movie all the way through without having to go pee in years. And I was just completely engrossed in this, and it was just the characters were likable even when they weren't likable. You could understand what they were both going through, and even the other side characters that were in it.
Brendan Gleeson's, is that Mr. Mercedes?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that actor.
Yeah.
And obviously Colin Farrell's brilliant.
Yeah, and just their interaction with each other, and just it was just a really good low budget Irish movie where not much happens other than people talking.
Yeah, okay.
The budget didn't need to be stretched past paying for the really good actors, the really good writers, and the really good film crew.
Yep.
They didn't have to pay for massive special effects or anything like that. There was obviously some costuming and everything that went into it, but outside of that, it was a budget well used, whatever their budget might have been, and it really shows in just a quality movie.
Yeah, cool.
And I wish I could talk about it more, but I don't want to give things away for people that haven't seen it.
Sweet. That sounds good. You always come up with these good reviews of shit that I haven't seen, and I always end up writing them down to watch them and never do. Like the Oak Room.
You're missing out. The Oak Room.
And the last one I had...
Talky, small stories.
Yeah.
I'm all about at the moment.
Which is like the movie version of a stage play almost. The thing.
Oh, and this was, you could quite easily see this being a stage play.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe that was originally what it was written for. I don't know. But
So it's dialogue heavy.
It's dialogue heavy, but it also does a lot of show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And doesn't over-explain what doesn't need to be explained.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember if I reviewed it on this, but there was one Emma and I watched recently that she didn't particularly like, but I quite enjoyed it. It was the same kind of vibe with Chris Pine. It's on Amazon. Its name's escaping me at the moment. I'll find it, but it's same thing. Watching it, I was like, that was a stage play on screen. Like they didn't really move from this one restaurant scene. It was very, very good. But yeah, those are. I wouldn't say they're coming back, but they're becoming more prevalent at the moment, especially for a lot of these actors we've seen in big Hollywood things who are taking that step back and they want to do these more like, no, I'm a serious actor. Like I don't just do explodey spaceships and aliens and whatever.
But they're also probably taking whatever parts aren't Marvel movies because that's 90% of Hollywood at the moment is a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Dodging everything that's not a Disney-made product, really.
Yeah.
Just doing, but also you're getting it kind of back into that. It's the indie cred, as they say.
Yeah,
getting that indie
completely
cred back.
agree. Yeah, and but well-made indie. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's been a lot of well-made indie stuff throughout the whole film industry kind of thing. But
All the old knives.
all the old knives.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay,
Very, very good. Yeah. And then, well, actually, we can talk about. Well, I can talk about 2 Marvel movies because I've seen the latest 2.
Yeah, I was supposed to have seen it, but I even bought and paid for a ticket and then got COVID.
Got the spiciest of
Motherfucker.
coughs.
That's it. Do you mind holding off reviewing Guardians 3 until I get to see it
Absolutely
this
not.
weekend, please?
That is fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
And spoil the fuck out of Ant-Man.
Spoiler: he gets small.
And then big again?
Oh, does he ever?
You've seen it!
Hey, but there's variations in there because doesn't he get
They're in the quantum realm,
He
so
gets
they're
big
all-
in the quantum realm, he gets quantum little, and then gets big in the quantum realm, and then does he get big again at the end? Do they all get big at the end? Spoilers for Ant-Man and the one you don't care about?
Some of them.
The Wasp.
No, not a person. What's the movie called?
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
That Quantumania was the bit I was
And
going
Marvel
for.
is starting to get a little ridiculous with the length of the fucking titles.
I
too.
apologise then. I did not mean the Wasp. I meant the Quantumania part.
Well, it was
And the little June bug now. Because there's the daughter.
daughter. Yeah, the daughter now has an Ant-Man suit too.
Is she called Junebug?
No, I can't remember what she's called in it. She does have a role in the comics as well. So
She has a significant role in the movie too.
Yeah.
Like,
It's one of those ones though where it's like same kind of thing you were just talking about with the Chris Evans osmosis. It's like there's no way she learned the suit that quickly. Like that was something that like she was able to go big when it took Paul Rudd's Ant-Man Scott to 2 movies to do that. She's able to do it in let's
she gets
say
tired
better
the first time, and that was the only time she got tired.
yeah.
Which character are we talking about here?
The daughter.
Yeah.
We're going to call her Junebug. That should have been a name, even if it wasn't.
There we go. A lot of, but a bigger focus on Michelle Pfeiffer's character
Yes.
this time, which was
Interesting.
which was kind of cool. It almost felt like, Evangeline Lilly took a massive backseat in this
Yeah.
film. She's barely used.
Saying what I said before, I completely forgot she was even in it.
Yeah.
Completely forgot. Hadn't even seen her in any of the trailers.
No, but she's definitely got less than 10% of the screen time. Like
Holy shit,
a
really?
lot of the focus is on. Oh, I wouldn't. No, that is a gross underestimate.
Yeah.
It'd be like they kind of split the story into 3. There's the 3 main 2 groups.
Acts, would you call them?
No. I'm talking about the groups they focus on for screen time.
Yeah.
So the 5 good characters, and then you got Kang, and the characters of 5. It's Scott and his daughter, and then the Michelle Pfeiffer and Evangeline Lilly and
Michael Douglas.
go off on their own like separate
Adventure.
parallel adventure kind of thing. And then there's a bunch focusing on Jonathan Majors Kang, who may or may not be coming back ever, depending on
mean?
what happens with his court case. Oh, has
I'm not across that. So are we allowed to talk about it, or is it too politically hot topic?
Well, I think it's a bit of we don't know. It's
He
another
hasn't
one of
been
those.
no, but there's
Accusations.
accusations of assault. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You know about this.
Do I?
We've talked about
Yeah,
this.
we've talked about
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
It all gets lost in the Ezra Miller bullshit.
So yes, no, that's which is because he was definitely set up to be the next big bad of and how they adapt to that.
I'll tell you what,
depending what happens.
Sorry, my take on the movie was I didn't have a great experience with it.
Yeah,
I thought it was contrived as fuck all the way through.
right.
There were some cool visuals,
like
the creativity of the background plates and the curvature of the world and the little creatures and the big creatures and the living fucking living buildings. I want to call it.
Yeah. They were living buildings. Yep.
That was all very cool. The art director did a fucking bang up job, but and obviously the actors are the actors. They're good actors, but the actual story was just felt a bit contrived.
Yeah,
Bill Murray was a nice little
cameo,
distraction, distraction cameo.
Yeah.
But like the Collector, I guess they used the Collector even more than they did Bill Murray and Jeff Goldblum. He kind of fit into that category. Very like he's the silver-haired old actor brought into the MCU for a bit part.
Yeah.
And it felt like a bit of a waste. And the overall story is just like, it built up to a predictable climax. The climax itself was pretty lame overall. There was a whole lot of Kang saying, I'm going to destroy these fuckers while he sits in his Tower of Babel, and they just bowl him over.
Yeah.
He didn't even get up and fight until literally they're already inside his little kingdom, stopping him from achieving the big bad goal. Like, it was just so fucking stupid.
And when does Mr. Potato Head come into it?
Oh my God. That was the worst part of it for me.
They fucked MODOK.
They fucked
MODOK good.
I've seen bits of him, but then I also see something about the daughter saying to him, "Don't be a dick."
Yep. You just have to stop being a dick. Just don't be a dick. And he's like, but I'm already a dick. Like, I've already been a dick. And she's like, there's never too late to stop.
Weirdest, like attempting to be comedic bit that just fell fell flat.
It was tone deaf. It wasn't even for lack of comedic timing. It was delivered awkwardly, and the lines were awkward themselves.
We're spoiling the fuck out of it anyway for people who haven't seen it. So it's the MODOK is in the comics is this giant floating head. For those who don't know who we're talking about, MODOK is basically a giant floating head.
He's got little arms and legs, doesn't he?
Tiny arms and legs in the comics, but he also is.
Do they work, or are they just little?
They just kind of flop there. But he's got like
vestigial.
He's basically got like
legs.
an octopus suit that's got buzzsaws and lasers and guns and everything. Like, if you look at him in the comics, he's because MODOK stands for organism design something organism designed only for killing. I can't remember what the M is at the moment.
Mechanized, wasn't it?
Yeah, mechanized. Yeah, because he's robot-y thing. So what they've done in this film, for some unknown reason, is they take the bad guy from the first film and say that when Ant-Man defeated him in the first film, he like shrinks him down. He shrunk him into the quantum realm and made him this like deformed thumb-headed thing. And then Kang, who was living in the quantum realm, picks him up and makes him MODOK. And
so the reason why
I have this really disturbing image of Kang picking up like a basketball with a little flappy arms.
That's exactly what it was.
Shit,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Oh, okay.
And so the explanation for why he's got little arms and legs but a big head is that when he was shrunk down into the quantum realm,
because he was in his suit. And,
his head shrunk at a different proportion to the rest of his body.
Yeah.
And
Of course it did. Because of course. I mean,
Marvel
didn't you
science.
fucking know? Yeah, of course.
Corey Stoll's not a bad actor, but the CGI of
Was he drunk the entire time he was filming? Like it's
Well, he wouldn't have
it's-
known what was going on. He would have just been on a screen somewhere.
or like in front of a green screen,
Yeah.
but they've distorted the perspective of his face, to fit a 3-dimensional, like it's not a spheroid. It's not a sphere. It's a spheroid. And it's like they've stretched the skin without adding volume and depth, so it just looks like a really bad projection.
Oh.
And it's like the CGI is really, really budget.
It reminded me of Zordon from the Power Rangers.
Yes.
The floating.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
that
and
kind of bad distortion. Yeah.
like, it was, you know what? There you go. That's literally what it
Yeah,
was.
I've seen him.
It's just out of proportion.
Yeah,
And
he looks like a testicle in a gold suit.
yeah. And then because he's bald and his head stretches back, like the suit goes back quite a far way.
Yeah.
that the bald head is not even in proportion. It's not a skull in a suit with some little dangly bits. It's a skull that's been distorted backwards and kind of stretched out and just.
But it's also just weird.
Just all kinds of
It was
bad.
just a very weird choice because MODOK's not the most serious threat in the comics, but he was a serious threat, and they just made an absolute mockery of him.
So
Yes.
what is he in the comics and Alien?
Yeah, there's different depending which one.
Cyborg,
cyborg
organism.
stuff. Yeah.
But Earthbound or
No.
from
Yeah, or it might have been. He's created by AIM, the
yeah. Yep.
So he was actually the main villain in the Square Enix Avengers game. Ended up being.
Okay.
You see his progression from a human to that, but they did it well. It was actually a pretty good design they gave him in the end. And this one it was just the weirdest left turn, and it's like. Yeah, look, the Ant-Man films have never been like the central, like they've always been that little weird offshoot thing. But this was just like, the thing with this was it was trying to be that, so it could be its own centralized little thing. But at the same time, it's spent most of it really just trying to set up Kang and then the Council of Kangs as the future bad for the rest
Which
of
is
the
a
MCU.
fucking, and that's the most contrived part for me. They set, and I've been saying this all along, and you've been saying, just wait, Pete, just wait. It's going to be this movie is where they're going to establish this big bad in a realistic kind of way. The Kang that's in the film is supposed to be the mega bad Kang, the mass murderer, destroyed whole fucking universes, killed trillions of people, and he's not a credible threat at any point in the entire movie. He's not.
he's wee little.
But I mean, within the context of the quantum realm, where he's normal sized, his powers are really, really.
That's an oxymoron. But anyway,
Where everything's relative. He's normal. He's relatively normal sized for the quantum realm. But his powers killed a bunch of random fighters in the war or in the battle at the end. And his powers were formidable in the sense that he could just whip them around and people would just it was like a disintegration ray. It reminded me of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. But then he fights anyone who mattered, and it was like suddenly.
They had some of the best movie plot armor that I've ever seen ever forged.
Suddenly those powers just didn't work anymore because
Yeah.
they go into a fight and he's punching them with this amazing vaporizing ray, and they're just having a fight like it's not there.
Yeah.
I can just see someone like running off and falling behind a little tiny boulder while everybody else around them just disintegrates.
But it was the final fight was contrived, and at no point did he feel like a real threat. And then he was defeated within 5 seconds. Like the battle was over before it began. And then the Council of Kang, which is the really, really big bad, it's just a million more of the same dude. Like, sorry, but that's a shitty bad guy for an MCU major story arc. A million of anyone in a multiverse would be as evil or as good or varied.
It was definitely like I expected it. Like I was excited when they said that Kang was coming, and it was misstepped. It really had, and the problem was like I really liked Jonathan Majors' performance in it. I thought the way he was setting him up was good. He was menacing, and it was like, oh yeah, that gave me a little bit of a chill. Sometimes the lines he said, it's like, yeah, that's the menacing Kang I want to see. And then, it just didn't work at the end. And I don't know.
I found him more interesting as a bad guy in Loki when he was playing a different Kang.
When he's a different version.
But he's got that calculating, fucked up. Like there's something wrong in their hair.
He was slightly broken in
and he was
Loki.
creepy, and he was threatening, but without being obtusely threatening. Like there was a lot of subtlety to his performance in Loki that really made him quite scary. And in this, it was just it wasn't bad acting, but he didn't hit that same mark, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I just don't know. Yeah,
I think it's a plot thing.
I'm actually I don't know where it's. Like, would you say where it's gone wrong? Like, if it's coming from direction, if it's coming from writing, if it's reshoots, if it's like someone else stepping in and going, no, you can't do that, even though that would have been like that.
I personally think it's writing.
Yeah,
I think it's writing because he acted it well. He delivered his lines well. The lines were pretty okay. They didn't stand out as shit, like poorly written, other than the "don't be a dick" part.
Yeah, that was just it was an attempt like when they just try and be too funny on the nose.
I felt like it was more like it was a really, really bad attempt at appealing to like 11-year-old preteen girls. Like it was delivered that awkwardly that it's like, here's a bunch of old 40-year-old dudes trying to connect with 11-year-old girls in a legit way, in a movie way, and it just fell way short because it was the wrong language, it was the wrong lines, the wrong timing, and it just didn't belong.
I mean, the daughter's meant to be like 18 in the film, but yeah, 11-year-old, sure. Yeah.
But
yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
But that's how it read to me. It was just a weird Mattel.
Old people trying to talk to young people, like, how do you do, fellow youths?
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like it wanted a Mattel logo on the corner. It just didn't fit.
So yeah, it's definitely fallen short, and it's too much of a trying to set up. It could have been its own great little internal story. It's just they focus too much on the setup for me focus too much on, like, because I really enjoy the other Ant-Man films as they're not really integral to the rest of what's going on. It's just it's them doing them.
They're fine.
Yeah. But this
and the second one was quite inventive in the way that it used the sizing up and sizing down stuff. I thought it was interesting as a standalone movie.
This is just too much of a.
It's now MCU-ized.
Now you got to be in the MCU.
It felt
the hook
like
coming in and going, like, get over here. Like, you're getting too far away. Like,
even the color palette reminded me too much of Guardians of the Galaxy. The bold, vivid purples and blues and aquas that we've been seeing in a lot of Guardians.
Mash of, the Guardians space and Doctor Strange alternate dimensions where,
And it almost feels, and these movies starting, because I rewatched Doctor Strange 2 the other, Mansions of,
Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
I rewatched that. I watched this, and I haven't seen Guardians 3 yet, but it almost feels too shiny. I don't know. It's not a perfect description, but for me, it's just all feeling a little bit like everything's wrapped in shiny plastic. I don't know. It's just my read.
When you're playing like a game like Fallout and you can set your armor to pristine, it's like it wouldn't be pristine. No. It's got to be worn down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of starting to get a bit of palate fatigue in that sense. Anyway. I stick by what I said a while ago in terms of my prediction of this phase, and I think it's a bit of a lost phase. Like it doesn't seem to have a strong arc connecting this phase's movies together, like it's taking us anywhere interesting. Now, hopefully, next phase they wake the fuck up, because this has been maybe it's just, listen, we've got an anticlimax period, so let's just make 8 shit movies and just eat shit. We'll survive as a company. So that we can distance ourselves.
That's the thing. They're still making enough money from these releases that people are going to come back and be like, oh, it's,
I resent the fact that I paid $45 a minute ago to watch this movie, but I still pay every time.
Yeah.
It's a diminishing returns, though.
It is, but maybe it's just a case of we've got to pump out some stuff to distance us from the climax of Endgame.
Yeah.
And so we'll pump out some crappy movies. We'll only make $900 million instead of $1 trillion, or $1 billion rather. For each movie, and then once we get through this phase of shit...
But they don't have to be shit. They're still spending the same amount of money to make them. Yeah. So they don't have to be shit.
No,
I'm
they don't.
interested to see if they are spending as much money to make them now. They don't have to pay Robert Downey Jr. $1 billion each time as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I was going to put it in the news and I just remembered because I forgot to. But I don't know if you guys saw as well with So Secret Invasion is the next Marvel show coming out. There's Nick Fury. Nick Fury gets angry, and that's episodic. But after that, they're going to dump seasons. So Loki season 2 and Echo are full releases day 1.
Wow, didn't know that.
I think that only got released the other day. I heard about Echo.
Yeah. So those 2 are the series after Secret Invasion. They're going to be comes out.
The full season being
full
streamed
season on day 1. Yeah.
So this could be your hey, let's just dump this and move on.
Yeah. Just cut and run.
Cut and run.
Move into the next phase.
Or I'm sure they're not seeing, they'd probably be looking at what they were getting in terms of keeping viewers going through the whole thing compared to, say, like Last of Us, where it was, tripling and doubling each time. And then they're like, oh, we're not doing that. But once everything's out, they watch it. So,
well, look, the only reason a streaming company drags it out week on week is to keep you subscribing.
Yeah.
But at best, most of these, because we're now, everything's only 10 episodes long. It's only 10 weeks. At most, they're getting 2, maybe 3 month subscription instead of 1 if you dump it all in one go. it doesn't really justify dragging it out when you should just be making good content frequently enough for people to want to stay on the service.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I mean, I dump Stan because once a year there's a good show I want to watch, and then the other
Stan.
11 months, why the fuck would I pay the fee?
You're breaking Stan's heart here. Yeah.
Sorry, Stan.
Yeah. Well, I dumped Disney.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming for you. Don't you worry.
Fucking bring it on.
Now that we've got
Spin that shotgun.
now they're out of copyright. We're already seeing the murderous mouse fucking Doom clone. What was it called?
Mouse, the
Oh,
game.
yeah.
It's called Mouse. Yeah.
You did see that. It looks good.
Yeah, fucking oath.
It looks really good.
Black and white, original styled Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Because they're only allowed to use
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, because they're only allowed to use the original version of Mickey. Mm-hmm. Everything else is still under copyright.
Yeah, looks great.
yeah.
I'll play that.
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
We're up for a break, but we've only been going for like an hour. So,
Well, I got to pee.
okay, we'll be right back
Classic.
after these sponsors. Messages. Yeah, messages from
Messages,
Dan's
sponsors.
bladder.
Hey, hey.
And we are back.
You'll leave that in, won't you?
Yeah,
Chunky,
maybe.
you can carve it. Because that's Scottish ale.
No, we got it.
It's quite bright. I didn't expect it to be that bright, but I guess Protosol these days makes it pretty easy.
I don't know what Protosol is.
It's a finding agent.
Thank you.
do this around the microphone. I don't know whether I should.
Did you drive as well, Tom?
No.
Oh,
Well, I did. And then I told Emma where the car was parked and said, have fun picking it up.
You were like Uber rideshare, but
Oh, she was coming
married.
from Macquarie.
oh, John, I like this. I like this already, and I haven't even tried the beer.
Well, let's get straight into it then.
So we've got Badlands Kilt Scottish Ale. Have you read this can?
I've had this beer so many times.
Oh, have you read the tasting guide on the back?
Not in a long time.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a Badland Kilt Scottish Ale, so it's going to be malty. It's 5%.
this is their new can design too.
Yes, yeah. The tasting guide on the back is they're all out of 5. Maltiness is 4.5. Hoppiness is 1. Bitterness is 2.5. Roastiness is 2. And freedom is 5. Oh,
That's
and
good.
he's got a little Scottish man on the top of the label.
Oh, yep. Oh no, that's the old decal.
Oh, that's the old decal,
Was
is it?
the,
It's an
was
old
the Scottish
Marilyn
Marilyn
Monroe.
Yeah. His little kilt getting blown up on the Highlands.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to have to message John. Yeah, nice.
Fucking tasty beer too.
Oh, good. I was hoping.
Badlands are from Orange,
Yes.
if anyone
Sorry.
is
I didn't get that
wondering.
far.
Yeah, they're just in the process of opening up their brewery and tasting room as well. They've always had a little brew space, but now they've got one in the center of Orange. They're moving closer into town, which John showed me the plans last time I saw him, and it looks sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'd hoped it would be.
Yeah.
Just
I'm getting-
nice, big, round, malty,
There's some molasses notes in there.
Yeah. some dark, burnt sugar
Yeah,
characters.
it's not a lot of residual sugar specifically,
No,
but
no.
you get the molasses flavour.
Yeah, the flavour out of it. Yeah.
And then you get quite a lot of pith. Like I'm getting quite a lot of is it pith?
I think you just like saying that word.
I just taking the pith.
Yeah, it's
Did he say residuals? Yeah, he did say residual sugars.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did play with that one as well. It's got
Fuck you guys.
it's got a really,
Which
really
don't you
nice
say
body
now?
to it. It's odd coming off the last two that were really thin too. So I mean, this isn't super thick in any way, shape, or form, but just that extra caramel malt and everything in there has just brought
you
that.
say that, but if you ever have it on
brought that
tap
body.
and you're lucky to get the bottom of the keg,
Oh, it's a thick boy. It's a thick boy.
that is triple C thick. That's what we're talking about.
What do we got on the top of the can too? Just a little dirk. Yes. Oh, and the thing on the front's a sporran. Yeah, nice. There's a lot of little.
Well, he says in the
Little
little
nods.
on the background for
Elements.
back the label there for wrap your sporran around this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's two. Yeah. Multi little number. Deep amber. Yeah. Rich toffee.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Definitely.
John makes sensational beers. I'm a big fan.
and multi ones too. That's really John's an Englishman, and just their
One of the few people I could get a reliable hand pump keg off for the last 5 years.
Could have gone anywhere.
I
That's
was going to say to Pete, glad you said keg on there. the Badlands London
judged?
Porter
Yep.
is excellent. And I was trying to get that on there as well.
Oh, we didn't get any else.
No, but that's
If we had, it wouldn't have made it to the shelf.
I bought a case of it a couple of Christmases ago, and
Yeah.
I have not been able to get much since. But yes, get around that if you like multi beers and a bit of a change up, and some nice little cheekiness on the label.
Oh, they're ahead of them. They've got the pregnancy one. Oh, they've got them too. How good. Everyone's getting in now.
Could I be
Yeah.
pregnant from drinking this beer?
Yes.
Yeah,
This beer will
August-
get you pregnant.
August is the cutoff.
Yeah.
For
Pregnancy warnings on the back
Pregnancy
of cans.
That pregnancy
labels.
warning.
Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say because hasn't it always had a pregnancy warning?
No, we haven't had to have it, but it's got to be that
Yeah.
color, that shape, that
Yep.
size.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck the government and their stupid ways.
But
It's like the
we're,
Cadbury purple. You've got to be that pregnancy warning red. Yeah.
but we're not smart enough to think for ourselves, Dan.
No.
We need the nanny state to look after us.
Yeah. And there's three sizes of it: the size for the can, the size for the inner carton, the 6 or 4 pack, and then the size for the carton. And it just gradually goes up in size, and it's got to be that size in those specific coloured tones. And the problem is when you go printed cans, you only have
Because they
6 colours to work from, 5 or 6 colours to work from. So you're already tied into red, black, and white.
that's fucked.
So you have 3 colours max to work with. So you have to incorporate red, black, and white into your can if you go printed. Labels are different. Labels can have everything, but
That's fucked.
yeah.
That's fucked. And then I'm sure they did a study of like what is the ideal size and ratio to get maximum notice. They would have been four bureaucrats sitting around a fucking meeting room table deciding.
Yeah, the IBA
That's the
put
study.
a huge thing out to all the independent breweries saying, help us sign this petition and send. So I jumped on and they auto-generated per state and per region or whatever it was, your emails to your local members.
Right.
And then they gave you the email, copy it in the body, put your signature on the bottom and send it off to them. So everybody was all on the same page with the same information. They did this huge thing saying how much it's going to impact printed cans and like the independent breweries already don't make enough money. So you're already restricting their marketing side or their marketing options by restricting cans to these colours. It absolutely fell on deaf ears. They were like, nah, whatever.
Thank you.
And even the wine industry got behind the independent brewery,
Wow.
the independent beer side, because the wine's like makes no difference to us. We all do printed labels.
Yeah.
Doesn't like colours. Nothing's going to affect us. But we're in support of our brewing brothers and sisters and others to be able to market their products properly. So. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just really just felt like it was when you said that I didn't know the wine producers came to the aid. It was just I just really thought of the Battle of Five Armies from The Hobbit, and the brewers are all the dwarves, and then the winemakers, the elves on their giant moose coming over the ridge, and of course the politicians are all just orcs, goblin scum.
The spirits with the army of men.
Yeah.
The distillers. Sorry.
All right, we're going to move into trailer trash, I think. Oh, no, we got to rate this beer out of 5. I'm thinking pretty high. I'm thinking like a 4.25.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I'm highly biased with this beer. I shouldn't be able to rate it on anything. Because I'll just give it I will go with what you two decide.
Okay. I think 4.25.
Yeah, 4.25, 4.5.
4.5 it is. 'Cause I'm gonna
It's
count.
got a good solid bitterness to it
Yeah,
too.
it does.
Really nice.
Disappears.
It does. I think we're going to get through more than 4 beers tonight. Trailer
We
trash.
picked 6.
Oh, okay, good. Trailer trash. Let's start with something really. I'm surprised. I'm excited for this, but Dune Part 2. We didn't get a whole lot of trailer. It was a lot of sand and a lot of.
But it wasn't slow-mo.
No, it wasn't
for
slow
most
mo
of
sand.
it, yeah.
And a lot of Paul Atreides talking to
Stilgar.
Stilgar, thank you. About riding the worm. A lot of and it wasn't me for a change.
Yeah. That was a little too
Drawn out?
quippy for me. I actually didn't like that.
And I felt it demanded
When
too
he's-
much of the time. as
Forgive
well.
my ignorance of the names because that's when he's talking to
Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Okay.
And even Zendaya's, when she was joking with him when he was talking about Caladan and all the waters and swimming, that felt... It even felt in a contrast
familiar
to the
too
first.
quickly?
It was. Well...
But we don't know where in the story that part of it's set.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean the conversation between the characters. It felt to our world modern.
Yep.
It didn't
Yeah.
fit into the feel of the first Dune movie. And this is two tiny little segments taken completely out of context.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? Those little clips might not even make it into the final cut. Who freaking knows these
True.
days?
Yeah. True. As long as they don't cut whole actors out, then they won't get sued. It's all good.
What happened?
Well, they had actors in trailers that didn't make it into the movie,
Oh,
and
okay.
they sued for
Gotcha.
false advertising.
Yep. And then
The fans sued because he was obsessed with Ana de Armas and she wasn't in the film and the trailer. And
that's right. That's
Yeah.
what
And-
that one
and-
was.
he's
and-
probably a massive creep.
And I'm sure he is, but the judge did rule in his
did, yeah,
favour
that's
for
true.
false advertising
Yeah.
because she wasn't in the film.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good, and I thought it was really.
It got me excited for the film.
It was really good. Paul being that cocky in the trailer. I'm going to spoil the trailer. Go and watch it. It's
a trailer.
I don't know. People get upset these days about sliding into the crevasse of the sand dune as the worm came through.
Yep.
Like, he was really cocky, and he does things like that. He doesn't do things like that showy in the book. Like when he first rides the worm, it is just a by the numbers worm riding. Like still
Survival more than anything else.
He's being taught how to do it, and he's quite,
would have been shitting
quite
himself,
fearful of doing it. And it follows it in the book. And why they've shown it like this in the trailer and potentially in the movie is he's proving to them, when I say them, the Fremen, that he is the Mahdi. He is the chosen one from the outer world that lives, understands their ways, even though he's not from their ways.
Yeah.
And it's how he's building his messianic standing in the Fremen, which you see in the trailer too, where he walks
Yeah,
out on the
definitely,
cliff and you've got the entire Fremen army of. And I thought that was impressive
and he
too.
twists the knife in a very specific way in the little fight, and
Yes.
then it cuts to the crowd.
Yeah, so that little fight is against Fade Ruther, who is the Harkonnen nephew, who's played by Isaac Butler,
I think it is
Austin Butler, that played Elvis.
Elvis dude.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
The bald grey white man.
yeah,
Grey white man? Yeah.
the smaller Dave Bautista.
Yep.
Who I as soon as I saw him the first time, and you will laugh at me, and I'll cop it sweet, but the hairless white man that you first see in the sequence, I thought for a second was Matt Smith. I actually IMDb.
He does look a little bit like him.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I legit thought it was him. I'm like, fucking, they put him in the but no, it wasn't him.
I looked at it and I just thought, what a lovely day. That was actually the bit of the trailer that stuck out to me the most was when they had that short little snippet of Austin Butler's character fighting in what looked to be some sort of arena type fight.
Yeah.
And it looked like they'd done the Mad Max whitewash.
Desaturate.
Desaturation is a better way to put it. Yeah. But they just everything looked really, whitewashed. That's the perfect way to put it.
I think that'll be Giddy Prime. So, it definitely is Giddy Prime, which is the home world of the Harkonnen.
Right.
And I would say that desaturation will be played off as basically their UV, which is why they're all pale and everything.
Right.
I think that I very much doubt that they'll say that, but that is what I get, and I know that gladiatorial battle happens on Giddy Prime.
Yeah.
It's also a great contrast to the oversaturation almost of Caladan.
Yes.
And then kind of the middle ground with Dune.
June. Yeah. Yeah. And then you do see a very quick clip of the Lady Fenrig and Fade Ruther, and you get a little contrast there of his stark whiteness and her coloured,
Divinity.
2 seconds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, of
brightness
of her brightness, and it's quite a good juxtaposition there as well. So.
Looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the next one, The Creator.
Yeah, that looked fucking excellent.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. I stumbled onto that the other day and I was like, oh, hang on a second.
So it's the dude that did Rogue One. And
The director?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched it with Pete, and it had that very Rogue One feel to it. And I mean, you see the first
Yeah,
little
it does. Yeah, now you say that makes total sense.
on
Yeah.
the beach and everything, just the shots, and it was very Star Wars to start with because you had actual blaster bolts going across.
Yep.
Slightly orange.
Gareth Evans.
Gareth Evans, that's right.
Directed it and wrote it.
Yeah. Okay. Good on him.
Original.
Because
How good.
yeah, I think that looks absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
It's a sci-fi. What did you say? Terminator.
So Terminator
meets-
meets District 9 because
Yes.
it's got that real gritty, chappy feel to it.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's post-apocalyptic, and the tank that comes in reminded me a lot of the tank in Terminator.
It does have a name. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. I want to say Hunter Killer, but it's not.
No, because they were the planes,
Oh, they were
the
plane.
hover planes.
Yeah. Okay.
They were the HKs. I can't remember what the tanks were called. It's probably like a T-90 or something. I don't know. No, that is actually a Russian tank, I think.
They might have had a T number though.
Yeah. Don't know. No, it reminded me a lot of Terminator in the aesthetic, particularly where they had all of the robots in the crushing machine. They just it's complete opposite from Terminator, but it reminded me of the skulls, piles of skulls in the intro sequence to T2. Anyway, I'm really fucking looking forward to that movie.
Really drawn a lot of inspiration from a lot of fantastic movies, and I really hope it's a great
It lives
one
up
too.
to it.
And it'll be one of those ones that I'll go back to the cinema to watch.
Yeah, agree. Yes, agree.
Yeah.
All right, I thought I double tapped, but I didn't. Should always make sure you double tap. Should we move on to Five Nights at Freddy's?
Isn't that rule number 2?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, 3.
Yep.
Cardio.
Cardio's 1.
Check all the toilets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Double tap might be 3 or 4.
Maybe
yeah.
3 or 4. Yeah.
I have to go back and rewatch
If you're wondering what the fuck we're talking about,
Zombie
you should be
Land.
listening. No, I wasn't going to tell
They've
them.
got to go see it. Fuck them.
Fuck 'em. Five Nights at Freddy's.
We're meant to educate these people.
Fair enough.
The methods.
Fair enough.
Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah. So I threw this one in. I'm not. I wouldn't say particularly interested to not overly keen to see it. I should probably say, but given it is
fits pop culture perfect.
well,
'cause
yeah,
it's a
it's
video
a
game.
movie based on a series of video games. And they've expanded that universe greatly. Just having a quick read up of it.
I've never played it.
Neither have I.
Holy fuck.
Is that super sweet? Because that's what it looks like it'll be.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
The trailer, the Five Nights at Freddy's, it's pretty short trailer, but I mean, I've never played the games, but I always see the ad on Steam or saw it when it was coming out. And
I've seen all the trailers
Looked
and stuff.
exactly like
Yeah.
the
Video game.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of?
Pretty sure it's Jim Henson's created the animatronics, their studio. The character creator.
Okay.
Yep.
It reminded me of the zombie mode in. Is it Call of Duty?
Call of Duty Zombies, yeah.
There was one that was an amusement park, like a horror amusement park with zombies in it.
Probably. I haven't played zombies in forever. I remember the first one was in the movie theater. Yeah. The
Left 4
original.
Dead. There was a Left 4 Dead in an amusement going through an amusement park.
No, it was definitely Call of Duty, and you were stuck. It's like an arena kind of thing.
Well, that's the whole thing with
Will you
with
guys
zombies.
smell this beer, please?
Oh, wow.
It's quite confusing. It's we've got the Space
Might as
Cake.
well talk about it now before we get them all Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah.
Space Cake Dank Hoppy American Brown by Garage Project, 6.2%. I went on a little bit of a malty brown ale kind of hit when
And
I
bless
was
you
ordering
for
these
it.
the other day. I did not expect this. Like it's like
Frothy.
super.
It's reminding me of
perfume. Yeah, it's really dank.
It reminds me of a Baltic porter that, and I believe I've talked to you about this before, a Baltic porter that Mountain Coach did years ago, and they used, and I'm wondering if they've used the same hop, because
It just says Galaxy.
they used coconutty Sabro, and it purely, and this smell reminds me of it, Jägermeister.
I would say it is a super dank,
That herb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
super dank grapefruit juice. There's a lot
I'm
of
getting so much herbal, yeah. It's just, I'm
there's
getting
a lot of pot to it. It's got
Yeah.
the
It,
marijuana.
it smells so much like weed. Like just, but like and I mean, it says icky, sticky,
I mean, look at the label.
Kush terpenes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's really.
I'm going to look this up while
It's
we go.
really giving me that flashback to
Don't drink the bog water.
Don't drink the bong water.
and then
Another episode title right there.
just Jaeger. Oh, horrible memories. Oh god, they're all coming flooding back. No, they're not. They're just blank hazes.
Yeah,
they're not real memories. They're false imprints.
Those are called flashbacks.
Yeah, there's just choppers going overhead, just
Rolling around in your front yard.
Yep.
I don't know how to rate that because I'm enjoying it, but I could not drink a whole can of it.
Oh, I've got a whole can at home that think I'm going to want to go back and have the whole can and see if it changes over time or as it warms up, kind of thing. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean,
It is.
It's a great garage project beer. Like, trust those guys to do something very interesting like that. Excuse me.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Yes. Super grapefruity, though. Like,
Yeah.
massively grapefruity. Yeah.
What's it called again? Sorry?
Space cake.
Space cake.
Space cake.
Terpenes found in the Kush cannabis strain family.
Okay.
I recognised there was a word in there where it said, doses offers a dose.
We're not microdosing.
No. You
It
guys
might be in
You
this.
guys keep going. I got to wrap my head around the wording on this. Wording on this can.
I'll keep going on Five Nights at Freddy's. So yes, for those playing at home, the basic premise is that the main character is becoming a security guard at the Freddy's Pizzeria, whatever they call it. Freddy Fazbear, I believe his name is, Pizzeria, which is meant to be a ripoff of like a Chuck E. Cheese in America kind of feel. And they have these giant animatronic animals that like a stage band thing. Then all the kids love them and yay. And then at night they go completely evil. And in the game you have to like set up defensible points to stop the big animals, monster robots killing you.
Right.
Yeah. And then this
Kind of reminded me a little bit of Saw at various points in that trailer.
and that is for a very good reason, because there is the creator of the animatronics is in the film, and it's it does have that kind of like he brings you in, and it's not the first time that you've done this, and
right.
kind of thing. Yeah. So it looks interesting, but it's
as
we talk about usually video games and movies separately. So this
horror.
is but it's another video game adaptation. Let's see how faithful it is. But it's a bit left of field, I guess, for most of those video game adaptations that they try to bring out. But and this one's through Peacock.
Yes, I saw that. It's a distributor I haven't seen before.
It's a US based one. Emma's parents have it, on their thing. I think it's through.
So it's a streaming service, is that what you're saying?
It's like NBC. Yeah, NBC, because that's their logo.
Yeah, that's the
Logo
multicolored.
Yeah. So it's their streaming
service.
service. Yeah.
Cool.
Two of our actually the trailers we talk about are Peacock. Twisted Metal too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So just on this beer, beer contains water, malt, hops, yeast, as you would expect, and botanical terpenes, which are an oil. I mean, there's terpenes in hops, which are flavour modulators, or maybe flavour givers. I don't know, what do you call them? And obviously they are in marijuana as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's got because it says Kush on there, and Kush is
Marijuana.
Australian, yeah. And it says Kush terpenes. So I think they've taken
the flavonoids, or the
flavonoids, yeah.
The flavour
Flavonoids.
Flavour oils out of actual marijuana.
Yeah, or someone has, and they've used it.
As long as there's no THC, it's completely legal.
He's gone. No. They'd have, because they I don't know what the rules are in New Zealand around that, but they wouldn't be able to.
No, they wouldn't be able to. Well, they wouldn't.
As long
be
as
able
there's
to
no THC in it, it's fine.
No THC, no CBD, no THC.
Yeah, it'll.
Or it'd just be hemp. People use hemp in beer all the time.
It could be. I'm just never
like hemp oil.
That's never come across. Remember, we really had a go at Mountain Cultures one and said, like, if they can't do it, don't fucking do it.
I'd let Garage Project do it at Mountain Culture.
This is something different. This is an extract of some
very
sort.
cool can though.
Yeah, it's beautiful retro retro label. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. Fantastic.
Now, are you going to sneeze? Do we need to
No.
take-
I think
Cool.
we're
A
good.
little bit more. There you go.
Oh, thank you. The next one
Little
is
sippy for daddy.
the next one actually looked really interesting. So it's a limited series. So I suspect it'll just be one season.
I assume you didn't want more because it's
No.
6.2, yeah.
Called The Sympathiser.
Oh, I put this in for a very special reason.
Please
So the reason I
regale
put,
us with your story, Tom.
so the reason I put this in is because you guys watched the trailer.
Yes,
So it's based on a book about a
Viet Cong spy.
yeah, basically a Vietnamese man who lives in America who was essentially like a double agent. But the guy who is playing the main titular character, the spy, Hua, I actually used to work with at the pub, and it's amazing that he is now working opposite Robert Downey Jr.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is the
Super
guy I knew, like
impressive.
when I first, like we worked in the bar side by side for a good 3 years. He's a very nice man. He studied at Whopper and he's been working his ass off. He was also in Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So he was one of the two main henchmen opposite the, can't remember his name off the top of my head now, the long-haired guy.
Does he?
But
Sorry.
he's worked his ass off to get there, and it's amazing to see. Yeah, so
That's cool.
That's why I chucked it in because when that series comes out,
and it
It
looks
looks
really
great.
fucking
Yeah.
good.
yeah, it's based on a book. Yeah,
Yeah.
So and it's just his.
So is
Can
it?
you imagine as a young Australian actor, your first major role, your
breakout
breakout
role.
major role is opposite fucking Robert Downey Jr. You'd be like, holy fuck.
But Robert Downey Jr., like proper Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
too, in
Yeah.
all those just
Relaxed and- relaxed and having fun.
loving it.
Yeah. So no, this is a shout out to Hua. I'm sure he doesn't listen to this, but incredibly proud and congratulations to him. And I wish him all the best and good on him for the hard work that he's put in to get over there and get it. So
Question:
yes,
Was he wearing contacts in the movie, or does he have tripping as balls eyes
eyes.
in real life?
oh, I'd have to check.
Because his eyes are trippy as fuck in that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say they were contacts. They were,
I think
it
they
was,
are.
It
Yeah,
was
I
too.
don't-
it
Stranger
was-
things have happened though.
Well,
like-
they have, but it was too much of a contrast. It was like Henry Cavill's Witcher eyes.
Yeah. That looks really interesting. So it's obviously it's about a Viet Cong double agent. So he's
Going to live in like classic middle America, like by the looks
Yeah,
of
and it looks like it's in the 70s, 60s. Oh no, we're talking Vietnam War. So that
Post
would be
Vietnam. Yeah, 80s,
yeah.
70s, late 70s.
I think it's
80s.
I think it's be mid to late 70s. I think it's meant to be said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, really interesting. I've read when I was a kid, when I was in I think 5th grade. You were there. Bridge to Terabithia was a book on the curriculum.
I know the name. Yeah,
And it was
Yeah, they made that film about it, and everyone was horrified by it.
war sucks.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a like a teen romance inside a teen romance. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Like a not an inappropriate one, but a teen romance inside a Vietnam War story. And purportedly, I think was based on a real story at some point. Maybe I'm just making that up or misremembering it. But I found the Viet Cong story fascinating from that book. So it'd be, and I've never really followed it up as an adult, so it'd be interesting to see this.
Yeah, for anyone who does want to read the book, so the book was released in 2015. It was originally published in April 2015. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2016.
and it's called The Sympathiser.
It's called The Sympathiser, yeah.
And you know a book's good when it wins a Pulitzer.
Yeah. And then it says here that I'll pull up when it's there. So it's a bit of black comedy, historical drama, spy thrillers, all the things it's been given. And then he plays the character, Hua plays the character of captain of the North Vietnam who's been planted in the South Vietnam Army, and then he's forced to flee to the United States near the end of the Vietnam War. So,
Yeah. And then Robert Downey Jr. appears to be his handler as he's recruited as a double agent for the States. And again, Robert Downey Jr. appears in like 5 different fucking costumes or disguises in
Just
10
in the
seconds in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just reminded me a little bit of his character in Tropic Thunder in the sense of just off the hook fun.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me of the way he was kind of presented was a bit like the bad guy in Iron Man 3, or the fake bad guy who was playing the Mandarin
Oh, Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley's like he's just that kind of like actor, that out of work actor kind of dude trying to make it. Yeah, it just reminded me of that a little bit. But yeah, it's
And I got gold member vibes from it as well.
yes, that too. Yeah.
And the last TV series trailer is Twisted Metal. Fuck, we took it's a lot on trailers. Twisted Metal. Do you want to talk to this one?
Yeah, Twisted Metal. It's an old PlayStation game. Originally PS1 game. Car combat doesn't get much more complicated than that. Really, it's just driving around in a car with machine guns. And
There was never. There was a story in one.
I'm
of
sure
them,
they've eventually
in
done
Twisted Metal Black or something.
I never played them.
One of them. I played and like peripherally played them.
Yeah.
Never owned a copy.
I just can't. I struggle with Andrew Mackie now. Ever since
Anthony
Mackie, sorry. Yep. Ever since season 2 of Altered Carbon, I just really struggle to get behind him. I know he's Captain America, and and he was actually good in that series, but. I didn't see when I
never finished the second season of Altered Carbon. I don't think
tells you how great it was, right?
But I don't think that was his fault. And it was so drastically different from the first season, and it just and I understand that's how
I've connected it to him though, and My point was more when I saw him in this teaser trailer, because it's only a teaser.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
When I saw him in it, I didn't get Captain America. I got Altered Carbon. And I just didn't connect.
But he was good in that.
Oh, really? I took it as it's just him going, this is dumb. I'm driving around in like...
Maybe that's why I connected it with the really dumb second season of a really brilliant fucking
but I mean dumb in the way that like I'm just going to have fun with this. Like
dancing in the car to steal my sunshine.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'd drive around and shoot machine guns in a car out of that and then have some psycho... serial killer clown in an ice cream truck trying to kill me too. Yeah.
Is his name Sweet Tooth?
Sweet Tooth. Yeah. So he's the machete wielding psychopathic. Yeah. Trailer trash kind of white tee with burger stains.
Some stain.
Yeah.
Cool.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I said to Pete, it's either going to be good and fun or absolutely shit. I don't think there's a middle ground.
I don't know how you could make that anything else than just this is going to be batshit crazy fun.
yeah. If it's
hopefully, if it doesn't take
fun,
itself at all seriously,
I
then it will
I don't
go
know
well.
how they could really. I mean, I know they could. They could definitely try and weasel in some he's like
fighting for his daughter.
Yeah, death race. Like when they start too much plot into that. It's like no, just let them drive really fast and kill each other. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know what I've signed up for.
The last trailer is a video game trailer, which was is it actually called Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah.
This is the reboot of the Mortal Kombat series.
Okay.
Yeah, they've full reboot. They've done a new 52 on it. Everyone
hopefully they don't abandon it as quickly.
So yeah, they put out a teaser like last week, and one of my managers at the venues is a massive Mortal Kombat fan, and he was like, "Come to me, have you seen it?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Go home, watch it. Talk to me tomorrow about it." So I went home, watched it, and the teaser was a clock face, and it was just ticking, and it got to 11, and then it goes and goes straight to 1. And everyone was like, "What does it mean?" Because the last game they released was 11. It's like, is it 12? Is it a reboot? And I was like, "Oh man, if you look at the background of the clock, there's like." Flaming like tunnel thing, and then there was like green sparkly lights. It's like that's reboot for sure. And then sure enough, they've rebooted the whole thing. It was getting a bit over
long in the tooth.
Not long in the tooth. It was just like it was getting a bit complicated. The world they were going for now. So they've reset everything. It almost looks like they've also switched up some of the character roles, because in that trailer it makes it like. Liu Kang is like
he's Liu Kang God.
He's the god as opposed to Raiden being the god. And then everyone's very
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Scorpion, Sub-Zero still in there. There was Katana. There was
she looked good actually.
Yeah. Big Bag Shang Tsung was he came out of the portal at the end, stole the soul. And then that
and then it goes into just horrendous
ripping
violence.
In half. The
violence was just. Like it's almost two trailers. It's the first half and it's the storyline bit, and then just suddenly rips.
And then,
but that's every Mortal Kombat. That's every Mortal Kombat trailer, though. It's like, oh, this is what's going to happen. There is going to be some story, but at the same time, I'm going to rip that man's spine through his ribcage. And thank you.
The graphics quality is incredible.
Yeah.
I got Mortal Kombat movie vibes, and I know it wasn't a popular movie, but I didn't mind the Mortal Kombat
I
movie.
went hunting for Mortal Kombat the other day to rewatch it, and I couldn't find it on any of the streaming
It's
services.
like, I did the same thing with Terminator. Terminator's not on any
The
streaming
new
service.
one, I'm
new
assuming.
one,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. It was okay, except for the generic main character.
Yeah.
No.
But they started to explore some of the lore, and I found that quite interesting, and they should have spent more time there.
Kano fucking wins. I just actually wanted to watch the Kano scenes. I think I ended up YouTubing them just because I was like, I just wanted that. That was, I was in that kind of mood after work. I was like, I want to watch something horrendously graphically violent. Mortal Kombat.
That fits the bill.
Yep.
Do we want to grab another beer before we get stuck into our spotlight?
I think, we should.
Yes?
Sure.
Did you have one in mind?
The next one?
Okay.
Yep. I'll grab it.
I was going to say, do you want
He's
to
doing the
crack
thing.
your stone? Crack your stone.
We're not pausing either.
No,
just gonna
we
keep
didn't
going.
think you were. Yep.
So, do you want to introduce our spotlight, Dan?
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, now that Mandalorian Season 3 is over, we thought we should do this as a spotlight because rather than covering bits and pieces as we went, because it was a real mixed bag. Literally from start to finish, it was a real mixed bag. There was some really, 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 really bad shit. There was some okay shit, and then there was a little bit of okay shit, and then there was some pretty good stuff.
I said to Dan before you got here, I could find things to be positive about, but frankly, I have nothing good to say about Mando Season 3. It was... There, like I said, there was. I can find some good stuff. It's just I found the whole thing as an overall experience. I found it quite disappointing.
Oh, we're going full spoilers here too. So
I think that's the only way to do this properly.
I think 30 minutes.
Yep.
Yep.
It'll be the rest of the episode.
Well, we're going to do
Are You Winning, Son?
Yep. Go to the end of the episode and then go back like 10 minutes, and then you'll be about the right
and Tom
spot.
will still be talking about his game. Just teasing you, man.
No, I can't talk about shit because you fuckers haven't got it yet, and it's driving me fucking nuts. I have so much I need to talk about.
Anywho,
I'm cracking the can first.
Oh, okay.
do it.
I'll pour for you. Here you go, sir.
Thank you. That's a thick boy there too.
Pour it, pour.
We had another brown ale, but
No, we don't.
oh no, is this this is the black IPA? Is it?
The black IPA. It's a very thick brown black IPA, though.
Yeah. It's
That's chalky milk.
even the episode I hated the most of season 3, I still had things in there that I liked.
I didn't look at it from a episode by episode. I looked at it as the overall story arc. What is season 3 telling us as a story? So you're right, and I have said that a couple of times now. I could find something to like, if not love, in every episode. I think.
Yes.
Almost every episode, because there were some flat out letdowns. Like, why did we spend almost a whole episode with the fucking spy? I'm bad with names.
Yeah,
lately.
The Coruscant episode. Why? Yeah.
It just didn't need to be in the
Didn't need a whole-
season
didn't need to be a whole
or in the
episode.
series.
But there was good things about that episode because you got that fucking awesome space battle at the start of that episode.
And they got to explore a graveyard of Star Destroyers, which I thought was kind of cool too.
Oh yeah.
But
I was
from a
just
but also
lumping
very,
that.
very reminiscent of. No, I'm getting it bogged down into specifics. Let's talk about we'll go to specifics later.
I mean, you guys start. I mean, I won't weigh us down with negativity.
Well, how do we want to
immediately.
break this down? Because I think we need some sort of structure here.
Well, we agreed originally that we weren't going to do episode by
No,
episode
I
because
don't
we'd
think
take too long.
Yes.
And then we go, oh shit, we've spent 45 minutes on episode 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's
Totally would.
let's do overall story, characters, and then
Oh, Pete's written notes. I forgot
And
to
I
write
then-
have,
notes.
actually.
Yeah.
and then some of the good scenes and the
Some
special
highlights
effects.
and lowlights.
Yeah. Okay. Overall story, trash. it took
Book of Bo-Katan.
It took. Well, that's not. The Moff Gideon episodes at the end should have been episodes probably 3
Yep.
and 4.
But it's not a pacing issue. It's what the fuck was the season about?
And that's what I mean. You move that first, even that 5-10 minute segment where Moff Gideon's talking to the Shadow Conclave.
Yes.
Shadow Council.
Shadow
Yep.
Council. You move that much earlier on. Open episode 1 with that.
Yep.
Why not? Like,
Yep.
give that big juicy chunk there.
But do you think that would have
But what was the arc about? Like, I'm not saying.
returning to Mandalore?
Well, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was about Bo-Katan. It was about her redemption story.
Yeah, but I mean, they've said that. They came out and said that the Mandalorian doesn't necessarily mean Din Djarin anymore. The director said that.
Yeah,
Rick.
Rick.
And I think that was
Fukunara,
and
something
and
along
I think,
those lines.
I think that's it. I think season 3 suffered for that attitude.
I completely agree. Yeah,
It used to. So season 1 was about
The
protect.
problem was always they made Din a hero.
No, I don't think. I disagree with that.
I much preferred him as a. No, they made him like too much of a hero character. He should never have got the Darksaber.
no,
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But so if you look at it, season 1, the story, the arc is about Din protecting Baby Yoda. Season 2,
Let's call him Grogu now. Let's use his name.
I was actually going to get there. I did that on purpose. Season 2 was about finding a Jedi to train Grogu.
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, some other stuff happened, but fundamentally, the setup for season 3 was actually in Book of Boba Fett, and that was okay. He we'll get to the Darksaber in a second, but Grogu had this. There was an emotional climax in the Luke Skywalker episode where Grogu chose to abandon the path of the Jedi, abandon his training, and instead go with Din. Din's story at the setup for season 3 was go and redeem myself through the waters of Mandalore, and to find myself worthy of the Darksaber, because they went out of their way to talk about the Darksaber being he first of all in season 3 he says I need to think about how I'm going to lead my people once he won the Darksaber.
Did he?
Yeah, it was he has a line where he said he needs to consider how he's going to lead the people of Mandalore. That was season 3, and then Book of Boba Fett, we discover that he's struggling to swing the Darksaber because he doesn't feel worthy of it, and until he does, he's always going to struggle with the Darksaber. And then we go into season 3, he needs to go and bathe in the waters of Mandalore. He needs to feel worthy. It's very much a setup for his redemption in season 3. And then what do we get in season 3? Her redemption, her sacrifice, her Darksaber. Like it was a bait and switch. So I really struggled with the.
Okay, I mean, I didn't see a problem with it, but I took it more as because they're leading up, like, because knowing that they're leading up to this big Mandalorian film they're going to do, like they're just trying to tell the story of the return of Mandalore,
which is why I call it
overall,
Book of Bo-Katan, not because it wasn't about Din and it wasn't about Grogu. Grogu had made this huge choice, a big emotional climax in the end of Book of Boba Fett, and he's almost a sidelined character for the entire arc. For season 3.
That was one of their biggest mistakes, was bringing him back. If it had been Din Djarin and
Yes, that might have worked better. Yeah, while he's off getting trained.
It would have worked better, but they needed him there for
the kiddies?
One, for toy sales. 2, they tried to ham fist him into the rescue character when he had to go and get Bo-Katan. But there was a million other ways they could have done that.
Yes.
Like they did bring him. Me and Tom had this conversation too. They brought him back way in too early.
Yeah.
And if they were going to do the not going to do the way they did do Bo-Katan and Din Djarin for this whole season, if it had just been them going through, and then you bring in episodes like the one that I hate, the Jack Black episode.
Yep. Jack Black and Lizzie.
You chuck those ones in there. I love the little middle bit. It ended too quickly and too easily. But the little detective story,
Yeah.
that needed to be, that definitely needed.
And
to
I
be
thoroughly enjoyed him kicking the fucking droid to try and provoke it.
Oh fuck yeah! That was a lot of people hate it, but I thought.
But then there was a whole racism story in that bar, the droid bar as well, that I actually connected with pretty quickly. But it also felt a little bit out of place in the middle of a plucky episode where you've got Jack Black and Lizzie not taking themselves seriously. You've got the kicking of the droid. That whole sequence didn't take itself all that seriously. You had Dr. Emmett Brown not taking himself all seriously. And then all of a sudden there's a fucking racism story in the middle of it. It just felt a little jarring.
Yeah, the start and the end of that were horrible. So it started shockingly with the Mon Calamari and the Squiddy lady. And the dialogue there was fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
Like absolutely goddamn horrendous. But from all of them. And that set the tone for that. And I just turned to Louise and I said, what the fuck was that? What is going to happen?
Quarren, that's the name.
Quarren, that's them.
Yeah, we complained. Well, I complained. I don't think you agreed, but I complained. I felt it was a bit rubbery dialogue between Din and Bo when she was in the throne room, and it almost we put it down to probably bad editing, and it was just bad cutting.
No, I remember that. Yeah,
and I wonder if that sequence suffered from it as well with the Mon Calamari.
No, it was bad scripting. Like the actual words, like when in the throne room between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, and like it was great her saying goodbye, Din Djarin, and like she said it with such disdain in her voice, but then they never played through that disdain anymore for the next episode because she was
went off to rescue.
She was off to rescue him.
Well, I made that comment, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just quickly reading through my notes. I think I've pretty much covered everything I said. I just think it was her season, not his. He became an enabler for Bo-Katan's story. He was no longer the protagonist. He was just there to kind of push the plot forward a little bit when she was stalling out.
I actually took it as, especially through those last, like through the droid hunting episode, and then through when they actually get onto Mandalore, it felt like they were pushing him back to the bounty hunter Din rather than the hero Din.
So just show us the fucking story and like give her own spin-off series for a season. Literally the book of Bo-Katan, and it would have been a better way to do it.
Or they could have compressed that down to a couple of episodes with her in it doing this specific thing, but they did drag some of those scenes out.
But Mandalore is too important to rush through.
They ended up rushing through it anyway.
Yeah,
they get to it in the last two episodes. Like they spend that little bit at the start, they spend that little bit at the end. I liked the stuff that they did on Mandalore, finding the scavengers and everything like that. But even that had enormous plot holes. Like,
yeah, it was contrived as fuck. The Darksaber handover was just bullshit.
That was silly.
The amount of gravity that Din had in and the exact I didn't write the exact words that came out of his mouth, but what I wrote in terms of his quote was he needed at the end of season 2. He says he has to think hard about what it means to lead his people. He never actually accepted the responsibility. But he had the responsibility because he held the Darksaber. He had won the Darksaber. And he was contemplative in terms of, I'm not the leader of the Mandalorians, and yet I've now got this thing that tells me that I have to be.
Yeah.
And so he kind of left it open-ended. And that's, to me, there was a lot of gravity to him getting the Darksaber and then needing to go on a journey in season 3 in order to earn self-worth, that sense of self-worth that, yes, in fact, I can lead the people. Now, I don't think he would have been the appropriate person to lead Mandalorian. It was always going to go to Bo-Katan. I just think the way that they moved the Darksaber to her, it was like they built this huge build-up with Din having it, and then it was just like, I got defeated by Discount Grievous, and she saved me, so she gets the Darksaber. What a shit plot.
They could have gone when he picked it up at that episode after he woke up.
Yeah.
When he picked it up and went to hook it on his belt, he could have. The best way they could have done it was him not even say anything, just put it back on the rock. Just put it back down and realize, you know what?
I didn't earn
this isn't mine anymore. And that's him doing exactly better what they did later on, which was literally he just said 4 episodes later, oh, you beat the thing. Like, you've been thinking about this. When were you actually going to go, oh, you know what? It is actually yours. Like if they just
his handing over that way
into the mic.
His handing over that way was it was a show to
Unity
to Axe Woves and the rest of them that she legit. He's like, because I think we probably would have had a similar thing if we'd rocked up to that episode and then she like had it and they were like, well, how the fuck did you get it again? Did he just give it to you? Like we're not going to believe that again. It's the kind of second time that's happened.
They
in
needed
the story.
to cover it. You're right.
Yeah.
They needed to cover the handing over, but I just think the way that they handed it over was just, I felt ripped off.
Why
because
not
they built it up so much.
I think the more the if you're talking about the gravity of the Darksaber, I thought the way that Gideon just crushed it and threw it aside. I thought that was more of a fuck this, we don't need it. Like
they'd already fucked the plot line around the Darksaber. I also, by the way, I don't think it's the last we've seen of the Darksaber.
Oh, you could read the crystal didn't explode. You can reforge it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just found that whole that it just felt disconnected.
Why not have her after she has the fight with AYWS to become the leader of that group?
Yeah.
Turn around and have Din go, yeah, okay, rightio. Take the jetpack off, would put all the stuff down like he does, and pull out his vibro blade and get ready to fight like he did with Paz.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Having those two characters, your two main characters that you've set up for this whole season, go at it. And you know they're not going to kill each other. She just literally took out Axe Wolves without killing him, without even drawing blood. Not going to draw blood, it's a Disney show. But it would not have hurt either characters. It would have actually strengthened her claim to it.
Yep.
If she'd just turned around tired as fuck from just having this huge fight and then taken out another one.
Yeah. Yeah. But the other complaints I had were, I think, the other overall large scale complaints, because there's lots and lots of little ones. The Mandalorians agreed or accepted her as their leader way too easily. You have the Death Watch, who are like the fucking the psycho cult split off, who don't respect her at all. She took a fucking helmet off.
But they respect the armorer.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's my point. And the cult leader was prepared to accept Bo-Katan in the space of one episode.
Yeah, because she's like, because of the mythosaur and the fact that they're fanatic cultists and anything like that. Like,
and she's been around.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. She's been around. Yeah. I mean, there was even.
I just felt that she had abandoned her cultiness way too quickly. I'm not saying that you couldn't have gotten her there. I'm not saying that it was an unrealistic leap that they would follow Bo-Katan in the end. I'm saying that to do it in the space of an episode seemed way too convenient.
But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that Yama is done with Bo-Katan. She could be, it's maybe a setup for further down that she's going to now go, I got you back in power, so now I'm your, the whisperer in your ear kind of thing. Like it's a future setup kind of thing.
I just felt like a fanatical cult leader wouldn't embrace a new leader above her that quickly. I just felt that was a little bit.
But fanatical cult leaders are always snakes in the grass. Like they're clever bastards. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That and the sworn enemies of various groups of Mandalorians just all came together very quickly for the climactic ending.
Without Gideon as a setup.
Yep.
At that point,
Yep.
they didn't know Gideon was the big bad. If they'd gone,
if they had unified around a strong enemy. Yep.
But
it would have had to have been a real threat.
But they didn't.
And the other thing is, how the fuck did he end up a real threat? I know you guys covered this, but now his dark armor is his dark trooper armor is now Beskar,
and he's got an Iron Man suit. It's powered.
Beskar Iron Man suit.
Yeah, but
it's contrived. It's fucked.
I just found that to go from Din defeating him in a single-handed combat at the end of season 2. Season 2?
Yes.
Yeah, just before Luke Skywalker reveals himself.
Yeah.
I actually went back and rewatched that fight with Din and Moff Gideon, and he wipes the fucking floor with him. And he's facing off against the Darksaber with the Beskar spear, and he kicks his ass. I know, they made it feel like he might lose at one point, but he kicked his fucking ass.
Yeah, he did.
And then at the end of season 3, it takes 3 of them, almost kills 2 of them. Grogu had to fucking to get involved in the fight at one point. Like, how? Because his armor got better?
Yeah, no, I completely. I agree. And
I just felt it was piss weak writing.
And if you're going to make clones of yourself, why make old man clones? Why not make Prime?
Oh, and in case anyone was
20
wondering,
or
I'm
30?
the last one that's not force sensitive, and you just killed all my force sensitive. What? Talk about fucking tell not show.
Yeah. Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah. that
You
whole
would make a
speech
whole
was
bunch
terrible.
of clones your age so that you can be many places at once and be doing many things.
Well, if that was
Split,
his,
only if
that
you
was
could
his,
split consciousness.
No. But he's obviously going to be able to control them in some way, like Palpatine was able to control all the clones. They'd have the whatever code words and stuff, but he'd be like, cool, you go be here so they think I'm there when actually I'm going to be over here, and then this guy's going to be over here so he can be there. Like, that's what I do, because it's suddenly a very young fucking Moff Gideon walked in. Everyone would go,
I guess he wasn't building an army, was he? He was doing covert
he's
spy
the
stuff.
spy master.
It felt more like a Sky Killer cloning kind of process of just, it's more successes than it is successors
Yes, he's not doing the Palpatine transferring of consciousness. He's like
Star Killer.
Star Killer, sorry. What did I call it?
Sky Killer.
Sky Killer. It's probably a James Bond movie in the works.
well, it's Skywalker was Star Killer originally, so there you go. Yeah. No. So it was definitely more for that. It was because he's the older spy master. He just wants to be in. If he's seen on Nar Shaddaa, but then at the same time he's seen Hosnian Prime, people will be like, well, where the fuck is he? Like, yeah.
Look, the last thing I'll say, and then I'll shut my mouth for a little while, is
highly doubt it. To be honest, I love you, mate.
I'll try. I'll at least commit to trying, because we should also review this beer. There was no character growth for Din in this season. His relationships with the people around him were the relationships that already existed at the start were essentially the same relationships by the end. They hadn't grown, they hadn't changed. He
he repaired maybe one or two. Like they fluctuated a bit, I guess, as they intended to grow. Paz and I guess Bo, because Bo was pissed at him. Now she's not, kind of thing. And then Paz Vizsla obviously went, yeah, I'll begrudgingly respect you again. But
he was at loggerheads with the Children of the Watch, and then all of a sudden they're all good mates again. That was another just contrived fucking plot twist. But I just felt like he didn't grow as a character in this season at all.
No,
and Grogu didn't really.
In the same way, I think that I wouldn't say it's not regression, but he went back to the end of that season, becoming that gun for hire bounty hunter again, the monster of the
but that was just a cliffhanger to make sure that you tune in for season 4. It wasn't really a plot. It was just an advertisement. That's my opinion.
So I think it was deliberate. So the way he moved.
One mediocre season was deliberate.
The way he moved in combat in the last 2 episodes, that was a deliberate move back compared to the way he was fighting at the start.
Is my theory on this.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sticking to my Din has had a concussion for the last 1 3/4 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, he's had several concussions over the seasons. He got a really bad one at the end of season 1. He got really badly slammed in the head by the Dark Trooper in the end of season 2. And there's been several other head episodes. He got a couple of more knockouts in the start of season 3. And then Grogu hit him with the Bacta again.
He did.
Hit him with the Bacta again when he freed him from the.
Let's not joke about
Super Troopers.
Oncoming CTE as someone who's very prone to it.
Oh yeah, it's nothing to joke about, people. I'm sorry, but
if you guys have any Bacta to cure that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Grogu hit him with the Bacta again, and then straight away he's back to prime bounty hunter form.
Yeah. Bacta is what we need to bring over from the Star Wars universe. It fixed so much shit. I definitely think he's just moving. It was a move back to that bounty hunter Din, and whether or not it's the Bacta or whether it's
Well, I mean that was my joke for him being so incompetent through season 3.
Yeah.
Yes, was his ongoing.
But no, they didn't grow him as a character.
I just look. The harsh reality is we've already seen from Book of Boba Fett that as much as we wanted them to be infallible after 2 amazing seasons of Mandalorian, they're not infallible.
No.
Book of Boba Fett did not deliver on the promise for us. I'm not saying it was terrible, but I'm saying it didn't deliver what we wanted out of a Boba Fett series. And I don't think Mando 3 did either.
That season 2 episode with Boba Fett, those season 2 episodes, I should say, with Boba Fett, they were really let us down. We were getting old school Boba back.
Yeah.
They were a massive kind of red herring.
And what we got was retiree Boba Fett.
Mob boss retiree Boba Fett, who then remembered how to fly and fight at the same time, which was...
And forgot he'd been on Tatooine for the last 20 years.
Yes.
Well, he spent a portion of it on
we have to review this beer.
Yes.
We got to talk about it, sorry.
I might actually open this over the sink because I don't know what's going to happen. It is 5 years old.
So I've got Stoic Brewing. It's Stoic Brewing, isn't it? Yeah. Geragong. Stoic Brewing, Stoic Warrior Black IPA, 7.6%.
Fucking delightful.
It's got a nice stylized Spartan man on the front of the can.
Very 300.
Yeah, very, very much 300. All men have fears, but the brave put down their fears. Sometimes death, but always to victory. Motto of King's Guard in ancient Greece.
Okay.
Black IPA. I enjoyed it. I thought
Thoroughly.
it had some really good. I'm going to stay.
Bless you.
It was coming. Loki's back on the table.
Nice roasty notes balanced quite well against hop notes.
Yeah, some really good dank Simcoe-esque hop character.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if you're wondering why the
Excuse
video
me.
is skipping around a bit, we're just cutting out some sneezes and
Ugh.
some life admin shit. We've got glasses being washed, cat assholes being exposed.
yes. It was a very cloudy product, which made it more brown than black.
We're not talking about Lucky's asshole anymore.
no.
Thanks, mate.
But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a delightful black IPA.
I'm actually, like when I poured out like that, I was like, oh, I hope this isn't going to be not the most ideal black IPA, but it really delivered.
No, it really delivered.
Had a little-
Hoppy and malty.
Little bit of chocolatey character to it, but a lot of burnt notes to it too, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, and the burnt wasn't like it. It was subtle, actually, more subtle than I expected. Do you need to sneeze again?
Not
You might.
I might.
I need the glass. Move, cat. You duck.
Yeah, duck. Out of 5, I'm gonna give it a 4. That's my opinion.
Yeah, 4.25. Good job, Loki.
Like he just took out my iPad.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Very deliberate.
4 out of 5. What did we say?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep. Okay. Fucking cat. You're gonna turn into a. You ever seen those?
Stuffed animals, yes.
No, I was going to say those kangaroo testicle coin pouches.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not a big cat. Anyway, kind of taking a minute. Jesus. Nice.
I've
I'm not.
cellared this beer for 5 years.
No.
so
I'm not saying you. Like, it's your beer.
which is a bold pour from me because this could be tasting
me.
like shit.
Excuse me, my chair.
We need some intermission music. Like we need some like. No, well, I was thinking more like elevator music.
Wow, that's skills, cat.
Yeah, but the gyro doesn't reset quickly enough.
Very good. Actually, I learned a little fun fact while waiting for Dan to reset up. I was singing the Pod Racer little Cantina band theme, the Watto Cantina. Tim Schafer, who is the behind Double Fine Studios, he did a lot of those original LucasArts games. He has a credit at the end of episode 1 Racer for the special thanks. I don't know if you saw this the other day. He got a special thanks for not actively sabotaging the product. And the reason he got this, which he answered on Twitter the other week, was someone was playing it because it's out on Xbox now, and someone was playing it, and they're like, why the fuck does Tim Schafer have like this special mention in the special thanks? Apparently when he was making, was it Day of the Tentacle? Might have been Day of the Tentacle or one of the Grim Fandango games. Yeah, Grim Fandango. It was in the same studio as the guys who were making episode 1 Racer, and he leant over one day and went, so what credit are you going to give me in the credits? And they're like, why would we give you a credit? You didn't do anything to like assist the game. And he goes, well, I didn't do anything to destroy it either. And they go, you know what? You're right. Here you go. Which I think is just
gold.
a great story of just like, he was... he didn't actively try and sabotage it, so they said thanks.
I'm sorry to change the subject quickly. This is the first beer, and I want to get this out before the head dies. It's the first beer I've ever seen with a two-toned head. So it has brown foam on the edges, but the very top of the meniscus on that foam is very white. And then you swished it around, and it wasn't anymore.
That could have been just my very skilled pour.
No, I can see it on mine as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite a lot lighter on the edges than it is in the main body of the head.
Yeah.
Well, this is a beer. I'm going to talk about this beer. This is a very special beer. So Stone Beer is Stone & Wood's annual release. It's their winter beer that they still make with traditional techniques. They have a big party around it. So they get volcanic rocks and they drop that in to boil the water. And they do
I missed the dock. Sorry.
Yeah. And they do a yearly release, and then they barrel age some and keep it aside, and then they release that in these special ceramic crocks. And this is the one that was
2017.
And
This was 2017's beer, and then this was aged in some whiskey barrels
for a year.
for a year,
And then released in
2018. And I've got, I'm running out of space on the shelf in my fridge where I keep these all, and next year's is going to be coming out soon. So I was like, well, it's time to crack it, and I thought, why not with you dickheads? But yeah, this has been moved with me from 3. It's gone through 3 houses now. It's on its 3rd house. Yeah, so it's
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
So
Yes.
yes, their stone beer is their wood-fired porter for the style. For anyone waiting at home, yeah.
It's fucking delicious. Lots of
is.
vanilla notes through it.
Yeah, but that would be from the barrel. Hi, Loki.
He always lands on his feet.
Yeah, yeah. It's got those
I'm very
fruit
impressed
characters.
this is held up as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no band-aidiness. I was worried.
Oh
that
no. It's got a lot of dark fruit raisiny
Lots of
characters
raisin, yeah.
and some pruny characters in there, and it's held up really well. It's not oxidized at all. It's really nice.
It actually does remind me
Crown
of.
seal too, yeah. Crown seal on ceramic.
Yeah.
I full respect for them giving you a proper bottle lid stopper after breaking the crown seal too.
Yeah, swing top.
It reminds me of the Doc's. What was it called?
Stone beer, the flesh wound.
Flesh wound. It
That was
reminds
the
me.
hot rock, yeah. Hot rock.
It reminds me a lot of it.
Yeah, that real natural caramelization and
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Love a beer like this.
yeah.
They do
What's the
say
ABV on it?
this is 7.3.
Cool.
The barrel age, so like the one from last year, I looked at it as well. That's like it's gone up to 10.2, so it's just going up every year. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I've held this for 5 years, but they say on the tag, "We've all waited long enough to try it, so enjoy this special limited release sooner rather than later." Fuck you.
Yeah, I want to give it a 5 or pretty close to.
Yeah.
So I'll balance the scores out. So if you want to give it a 3,
No,
then I'll,
Yeah, I'd probably happily give it that. I think it's well worth for the technique that they used then
Hold up for this long as
to,
well.
to
Yeah.
barrel it and then to bottle it, like you said, with a crown seal on ceramic.
Yep.
No idea how well that actually holds. And the presentation, the actual product itself, the depth of flavour in it all, I'd be more than happy to give that a 5 as well.
Yep.
cool.
Yes, good job. I'll have to send that to the my mate who works for him and be like, look what I finally cracked.
And you'll be able to point him to the YouTube channel, yeah?
He will never watch it, but yes, I'll point him there anyway. Yeah.
Back to Mandalorian. Do you guys want to put some balance in the force because of my negativity?
Yeah, I think we've covered enough of the bad and atrocious stuff, and I think we've touched a fair bit on characters there as well. I think we should go to some good stuff.
Yeah.
The ships.
Yeah.
God damn, the ships were
Yeah.
good.
They had weight on screen.
They did.
There was
in
inertia,
atmosphere
yeah.
and in space itself.
And they did respond differently between atmosphere and space.
Mm.
So to me, they were starting to, maybe not, it would perhaps be disrespectful to suggest that they were learning from, what was the fucking hard science fiction series?
The
Battlestar?
Expanse.
The Expanse, thank you.
Yeah, I think they're actually more probably Battlestar than they are Expanse. Yeah.
I haven't seen The Expanse, so I'm not sure.
It's ultra, like it's hyper real.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Ships don't just stop because it's convenient to stop. They actually have to flip on axis and thrust in the opposite direction.
Actually, cheeky fuckers, there was some, now that you say Battlestar, there was some very Starbuck-esque camera shots on the side of the ship, the Viper shots. There was a lot of side of cockpit,
Yep.
like GoPro shots
Yeah.
before GoPros were a thing in Battlestar, and they did that a lot with.
I remember they started doing
Bose
that at the
Gauntlet.
end of Rogue One.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah.
It's one of my favorite shots when it's from the behind the R5 unit's head
yeah.
on the back of the X-wing.
But
Yeah.
the gauntlet shots were more on the
And
side.
that- you see that wing
You see that
shake.
little
Yeah,
that
yeah,
little
yeah.
wing, that little wing,
atmosphere shake, yeah.
the closer wing flap. I think the all of the ships were beautiful.
Yeah.
Even the Corsair, the pirate Corsair ship. I loved the look
Such
and
a
the
letdown
design
when you
of that.
see inside it, but
Yeah,
the actual
well,
ship itself
I like
was
the
cool.
design of the cockpit.
Yeah.
I like the Ugnaught flying.
Rare you see an Ugnaught. What was it?
Yeah.
Was the Ugnaught flying with his little Fu Manchu goatee? I thought it was a great little addition.
I
like throwing all the different.
just the moss beard guy that we talked
yeah,
about.
Yeah, like Davy Jones made of moss. Yeah,
No, it was old Greg.
Old Greg.
Old Greg from the Noel Fielding show. Never mind. It's an obscure British comedy reference. Someone will get it.
Someone in Britain, probably.
No, yeah, it's got a bit of a following here. But no, yeah, he was. I don't know why they've. I get why they tried to focus on him a bit, but it was too much. The shots though of the N1 just absolutely demolishing those pirates like little spacecrafts was. I love that shit.
And the stalls. We talked about the stalls. The engine still has that real V8 fucking roar to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole in-atmosphere fight at Bo-Katan's castle, those TIE fighter or the TIE interceptors, and all the bombers coming at her, and like I thought it was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful lighting. I don't know what they've done, but something they've done. New ship models, whether they're
Unreal Engine 5, probably.
Unreal 5, whether they
Yeah.
still are using models or not, and just lighting them differently and enhancing them with like special effects as well, or whether it's just straight Unreal 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. But even the massive mythosaur painted on the bottom of the
skull, that was good to the touch.
The Imperial cruiser.
Yep.
As it came over Navarro, and then all the gauntlets landing around it, just fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Reminded me a
ships.
little bit of, because I'm balls deep into Rebels. I'm thoroughly enjoying Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Way more than I ever did Clone Wars. And Clone Wars probably tells more important stories from a lore perspective, but I'm just really thoroughly enjoying Rebels. And it reminded me, the painting, the underpainting on the ship reminded me of a lot of painting of ships in Rebels, because they're stealing Imperial ships and they have to mark them
marking
somehow.
them. Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And what's her name?
Sabine Wren,
spray painting. Yeah, those ships. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I can hear him purring through the microphone.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I either give in and he stops being a dick, or he knocks over a beer, or turns off the recording.
Yeah, I just that was great. I loved it.
Especially, we talked about it at length off air, but just the way that they shot that the air fight on would be Concordia. That'd be the moon that she's living on. Yeah,
I think you said it was Concordia.
Yeah, through the gullies and the valleys, and just above water. Just the way that she makes that gauntlet turn those, where it's like, it's not exact, but and the flipping of the
fins.
Yeah. No, that was just some. It was pure World War II dogfighting back. It was Spitfires. It was Spitfires versus Messerschmitts. It was great.
It was Star Wars space battles as they should have been.
Yeah.
Not the extremely hard to follow stuff that we got at the end of Rise of Skywalker. It was
Well, there's just too many.
No, there was
just too many.
It almost became Transformers, Michael Bay style shots.
Yes.
It was. It was big shots where nothing made sense, and
And it
there
was too
much
complicated.
else.
Yeah, there was too much action, too much hyper action.
You had very distinct good guys, bad guys ships, but even between the good guys, there was distinct ships that so you knew who was doing what and where.
Yeah.
And they felt different, and they weighed different, and they moved different, and you had even just the way they had both actors move in the cockpits when they were doing the maneuvers, and that was all very specific. And how they go from that to then playing the other 40 minutes of that episode is completely unknown.
I said, I don't know if we talked about it in the show, but I know I've spoken to you guys about it. I felt like there were some purposeful stop motion style shots. Now, I don't think for a second they did any stop motion in the season, but there was a sequence where the little droid, no, they're not droids, they're
Babu Fricks.
Babu Fricks, okay, the little
I don't know what they do.
little
they
creatures.
It starts with A. Does it start?
Amphrysians or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So,
Yeah.
so when they
Hey!
so when they drag IG 11, when they drag IG 11, it was a half-second sequence, but when they dragged him, it looked stop motion to me. Like,
okay, yeah.
and then there's a sequence in that episode, in the Bo-Katan episode, where they're fighting around her fortress, where right at the start of the dogfight. It was right at the start of the episode.
Oh, yeah, I remember you going, yeah, this,
You and I talked about it at length and I was pretty pissed by that stage. But there's a sequence where I think we look over her shoulder.
You were talking about as they were coming back from
space into atmosphere, and the tires
still
are
the space shot.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she looks behind, or the camera looks behind through the cockpit, and you get a circular window view of the 3 TIE interceptors behind her, and then the whole sequence kind of twists on an angle, like it's a barrel roll, and it was like it was presented in 24 frames a second, so smooth motion, but it was recorded in like 18 or 12 just to give it a little stutter, and it felt very stop motiony. And to me, it read as very. Let's try and recreate the New Hope style model shots where it wasn't seamless, it wasn't perfect. And
all 3 TIE fighters in the formation all moved together because they were all stuck together on the rig.
They were on sticks. Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional, and I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it, but there were a couple of sequences like that to me that just really read stop motion. And if it was intentional, then I thought it was a beautiful little placement, because every other shot in that dogfight was smooth. It's current modern day, and it stuck out because of that. And I hope it was intentional, like a yellow lightsaber thrown into an ad, because they do little details like that sometimes.
What was the yellow lightsaber in an ad?
Oh, orange lightsaber. Sorry, in an advertisement that we talked about recently. It wasn't cool.
The trailer for
Ahsoka, yeah. Because it wasn't quite red.
Wasn't quite red, wasn't quite yellow, a little orange.
Yeah. But that's my point is little details like that do make their way into this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's that was they did that. Even we can shit on the sequels as much as people want to, but that was the thing that they went back to those practical creatures and stuff to be a throwback to the originals kind of thing. But yeah, I don't. You never heard back on Twitter, did you?
No,
you did tweet at the director. I forced you to tweet it. I was like, just fucking ask him.
Did tweet Favreau.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I don't want to go into every episode and pick little things out. I think that'll just be a waste of time. We want people to go and do that for themselves. There was some nice cyclical things I found in the way they were trying to tell the New Republic story, and it's obviously hard that the fact that they've already doomed the New Republic with the sequels, compared to say like the expanded universe we read, where the New Republic actually flourished a bit. But just talking about scrapping Star Destroyers in the same way that they scrapped the Venators at the end of the Clone Wars, like that was a very throwbacky moment to that. I found that was like a nice little cycle of that, and they've really, really hate the idea of the New Republic. They've just absolutely, but they love the idea of the independent kind of monarchy, independent monarchy. Would you say that is like Navarro's leading that? He's not going to be like a self-proclaimed king, but in just that I am the governor of this and I'm fully independent and all that kind of stuff. It's getting to that
a little bit of a self-insert from the Disney execs.
yeah, we are our own monarchy down in Florida. They are having fights with senators in Florida.
Ongoing fight. There's more news recently that I skipped over because it's not that interesting.
So I thought, that was an interesting little take, but that moment there of scrapping the Star Destroyers in the same way, it was like that was a nice little cyclical moment, I guess. That history kind of repeats itself.
And there was some good things in that that Coruscant episode. It was nice to revisit Coruscant. We got a flashback with Grogu getting rescued from Order 66, where we got a little bit more Coruscant.
Haven't got on to Bellaran Kek yet.
That was very
Kelleran Beck. I can't remember
now. It felt like it could be part of the prequels. But then the highest peak in the park on Coruscant, I thought that was a fantastic touch.
Cool little idea.
It was a really cool little just a little bit of knowledge that something that I saw that and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I never thought about that. That of course there's fucking mountains. It's like, of course there's Everest.
There's an actual planet underneath the city.
All that. Little bits like that were great, but then there was horrible things like really fake quality ice creams.
Really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, it's just that episode set up so much for so much.
I was waiting
so
for the
little.
Magnum.
Yeah.
I was
completely.
waiting for the Magnum fucking advertisement because there were Magnum shaped ice creams that glowed.
Yes, the Keller and Beck rescue, I think, was the best touch out of that whole season. That redemption for Ahmed Best coming back after years of abuse. That, you know, it's you can't blame the guy. For what happened with the prequels and with the character of Jar Jar, and that was all direction. But
Exactly.
he was just a dude in a suit.
He was doing a job.
And a young guy as well.
Yeah, and to absolutely the way that the fandom just absolutely ripped him to shreds.
It just shows you how fucking stupid people are.
Oh yeah,
Like we're attacking a human for a fictional character that the human didn't even get a say in.
Yeah.
Like it's just so disconnected from any kind of reality.
and then just seeing him dual wielding and doing that,
Ass
and,
motherfucker. Yeah.
and the lat chase through the tunnel, I was like, oh yeah, this is good shit. Yeah,
And even how he dismounted the bike.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it.
There were some things I think I wish they'd spent a little bit more time exploring. Like they didn't really explain I called him Discount Grievous earlier. I know he's not related to General Grievous, but the biomechanical creature that they met under Mandalore.
Fantastic design.
Yeah, and he very much, I don't know if it was intentional, but he reminded me a hell of a lot of Grievous. It was
But he was also the little eye monster in the
Dianoga.
New Hope.
Yeah.
Dianoga, yeah.
so I just wish they'd spent a little bit more time kind of exploring that kind of stuff.
And why was he on Mandalore?
Yeah, they never explained it.
It was just odd to have something so advanced there when there was literally nothing else but cavemen there.
Yeah, and what was it eating all that time?
The cavemen.
Yeah.
Well, they used to live on the edge of the cities, the whatever they were called.
The troglodytes.
Yeah, the mini wampers. Let's call them that. Yeah, they were just Yeti men. And then showing that Mandalore was a vast green country.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah, Karen Travis getting her revenge. Yeah, good. Bring her back.
Yeah, which is what obviously they want to aim to do is get rid of the
Because
desert.
that Filoni would have originally would have been like, this is perfect. Like he would have read those books back to the cover to front however many times. So it was nice to get that little throwback for those who have read the books and we're always a bit confused why it was a desert planet after that. Not that they don't have enough desert planets. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just how long? They've written season 4, haven't they? Isn't that the thing now? They've written season 4.
They'd written season 4 before they'd started filming season 3.
Yeah, but there's no shooting yet. So who sees if we will get back to Bounty Hunt of the Week.
I just want a spaghetti western set in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just give me a fucking western. That's what this started with. It was great. Blows into town, fucking shoots up some bad guys, and blows out of town.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. That's what we all love that about that, and that's where I when they started. That's what I said when they started making him this hero character. I really thought they took it away because they made him They could have made him a Western hero, like the Man with No Name trilogy.
Yeah, but that's
made him a Star Wars
myth.
hero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of the Man with No Name, it's a myth more than a person.
Yeah.
And and the person doesn't have to live up to the myth. He just needs to do his thing.
Yeah.
And the stories build around him. And in that way he can still be a central important character to that kind of subculture on that planet.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be a bigger-than-life character. They can just keep the stories small, which is how they started and how they should have continued.
And they did. I feel that they did do that sort of Man with No Name sort of thing justice towards the end of the season, especially with the very last episode. But even how he was on the skiff on the Mandalore when Paz and Woves got into the fight, he had nothing to do with it. And he's like,
they've got to
Not my
sort it out.
business.
there you go. It's not my business. I'm just going to exactly what the Man with No Name would have done if when fights broke out in the in the bars and that in those movies.
You going to step in? Nope. I'm not.
Nope. Got nothing to do with me.
Yep.
And they really lean into that in those few episodes and how he handled him in that hallway. He got his own hallway fight.
Yeah.
And
The upgrade fight. Yeah, it's fucking
Upgrade. Yeah, each one he went through. Yeah. No, it was. I thought that was clever. I like that. And yeah.
And then the scavenger armor.
Yeah,
Scavenger armor was
cool.
great. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what this other big creature they decided to bring out was for. That was a bit came out of
Just
nowhere.
random.
Yeah.
Absolutely random. They needed to
It's a
destroy
desolate planet, but don't worry, everything lives underneath the crystals.
Yeah, and only comes out when the plot calls for it.
Yeah.
And why destroy
the vibrations?
Why destroy the skiff? Like there was no.
Yeah.
Oh, that skiff didn't have long to live. Let's be honest, that was falling apart.
Well, it was, but it was a scene chew for the sake of a scene chew. Like it was. They were almost to their destination where they were going to the forge anyway. They knew where they were going to the forge. It wasn't like they needed to destroy the skiff and force the company into this cave
to accidentally
get
find
there.
the entrance.
They didn't. They knew where they were going.
Yeah.
So destroying the skiff with that thing
Achieved absolutely nothing.
Achieved
It
nothing.
Didn't build tension.
and then disappeared completely. Like
Yeah, it's not like they were going to use the skiff after the fight with Gideon. They would have been like, well, we're here now. We've found this Imperial base. We might just live here. This is pretty good.
other than maybe they needed to bump down the numbers and have a few of them injured for the fight with the super commandos.
which they didn't really portray on screen anyway.
No, I mean
Even if it did happen.
There was a couple being carried and helped through as the super commandos ambushed them, but I mean, in the end, it didn't really matter any. The Mandalorians wiped the floor with them in the end anyway. So
No, one Mandalorian wiped the floor with him.
Well, one
with his
Mandalorian
with his glowing end of his minigun.
and then decided to smack a few with it when it ran out.
Fucking what an absolute
Badass.
champ.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy that Praetorian armor.
The Praetorians, yeah.
The
The
armor they
Praetorians
used
were
for those as well. Because, they were so underutilized in Last Jedi. And then to see them again, like, as a proto form, I was like, yeah, that's cool. Cool connection.
Them chasing Grogu through the room. I don't know what it reminded me of, but it reminded me of
Shaun of the Dead. Reminded me of, I thought Don't Stop Me Now was going to start playing.
Yeah. They were kind of moving like that, weren't they? There's something else that has like 2 or 3 very competent characters in a movie chasing something small and it keeps getting away from them. But I mean, I know it's a fairly common trope, but
It's usually when an animal's escaping or something.
yeah,
It's
or like Home Alone where they're chasing Macaulay Culkin through the kitchen or something. Like I kind of had that feel to it, and then you see them. You see them really competent.
I just found that
Fighting
whole
Din and
sequence a little contrived as well.
yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah, they needed to do something with.
But
Grogu,
it wasn't funny. It felt like a plot stall because they needed a plot device to stall. Which
They
is
need,
exactly
they
what
need to
you were
build the
saying.
tension for Din to come in and then do his thing. Yeah, that was it. It was just a stalling technique, Just throw some sand in their face. Yeah.
So, Tom, are you winning, son?
Fuck you. You fucks. Yep.
You can tell us what you've been playing,
I've been playing Jedi Survivor. I've finished Jedi Survivor. I have finished it. I have.
but you've been plagued by yet another platinum bug, haven't you poor bugger?
Yeah. It's pretty disappointing that it's the second AAA title this year that I've had that has a, it's not a game-breaking bug. Actually, it is a game-breaking bug because I don't get to do these certain fights I want to do, and it leads up to. Unfortunately, it's been spoiled for me. I'm not going to say what it is for you guys, because I don't want to spoil it. But it, I now want to, go through this exchange with this character to get to the end of it because it's going to excite me. It's beautiful. The story is like amazing. It's one of the best Star Wars stories in many, many years. It is beautifully made. The worlds feel alive. The hub world feels so lived in. It's you have a central hub world where you have a bar a cantina you frequent, and it's slow as you do things without the other worlds. It slowly fills up, so it just feels more and more lived in as you get through it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I suck at these Souls-like games. I know it. There were so many times I would just get stuck on one fight and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You go back to the spot, get to it, and you go, fuck, I die within 2 seconds. It's just, I know I'm no good at them, but I don't hate myself enough to
Get good at them.
Yeah,
by
to go and play
repetition.
Yeah, go play all 17, Soulsborne games and rip my head out every time I see the "you die" screen. I will say though, I did, despite the temptation, because there was no ramifications for it. I did not change the difficulty. I did it all the way through on Jedi Knight. There were certain fights, fighting 2 Rancors fucking sucked, but I got through it. Especially when I didn't save and the game downloaded an update overnight, and so it reset to the last save just before that, so I had to do the fight again. That fucking sucked.
I remember you saying that too.
It's beautiful. The vibrant worlds as well. Just the I had a little bit of stutter in certain spots in terms of the frame rate stutter, but not enough to really ruin my experience of the game. I know a lot of people complained about it, and it seems to was a lot worse on PC, but I got away with that.
I heard that.
And just where it goes from here. The characters they created were great. Certain fights were Emma would just walk through and she'd be like, I need to pass, and I'd be like, just hold on one second. Okay, fine. Now you can go. But I'm just sweating through these moments. There's just fucking play it so I can talk to you guys about it.
Yeah, we will. Sorry, just before I forget, you wanted to. I think you expressed a vague interest in Death Stranding. It's available free on PC from the Epic Game Store if you're interested in grabbing it. Anyway.
I'll add it. I'll get to it at some stage.
I've gone back to playing Wolfenstein while I wait for them to patch the game so I can play it, which is I've got a spotlight now for the next episode based on replaying this. Wolfenstein.
Okay, cool. Dan, are you winning, son?
Yeah, I got 3.
You got 3?
Surprising.
Wow.
Surprising.
Yeah.
The man who sometimes doesn't have any and has had Witcher for the last 12 years. No, when did it come out? 15, 8 years.
I actually had a question for you about Witcher. I meant to ask you.
Do that. I'll keep talking.
Yep. I don't know if you saw in the latest patch they've done on...
I haven't looked at what the new patch brings.
What auto oils for you.
Auto oils?
Yeah, and people are like, this fucking sucks. It ruins the experience. You can...
So depending on what monster you're fighting, if you've got the oil.
I haven't read it. I'm guessing it's it'll automatically reapply the oil you have when you go into a fight, maybe, or maybe you can you can set oils to be. But it's people are like, oh, I don't like this.
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
You should
Surely you can turn it off.
You should be prepping. I don't even like being able to do that in the fight.
Yeah. I know you've said that. You do it properly.
You sit, you go to meditate, you prep like you did in Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Prep, take your potions, apply your oils, put all your shit in your pockets that you need to do. Can't do it in the middle of the fight. Can't heal yourself. Can't add anything more. You do what you got to do. You just what you've got on hand going in. Anyway, so no, I don't like that.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's got 3 games to talk about, and you somehow dragged him back to fucking Witcher.
He mentioned Witcher.
Well, I'll go through the first one real quick. On to the last mission of Doom Eternal, but don't have my PC hooked up anymore, so I can't finish that. Really enjoying it. I told you guys there was a plot twist that I did not expect.
Yep.
And that actually led, because you pick up pages of lore as you go through, and I hadn't...
So he does, but he doesn't read them.
Well, I basically hadn't read any up until this point, and it was one little thing, and I only noticed it because the subtitles were on. If the subtitles weren't on, I probably still wouldn't have read the lore, but one little thing popped up in the... which was... a major lead into, and I started to stop and read every lore page that I picked up, and I thought it was fantastic. I think they've done a really good job of filling out a story to a fucking Doom game. And I know there is a story to the Doom guy and that. I know there is, but thanks, Loki. But I didn't expect to enjoy. One that I was just kind of chugging through to get through it. And I do enjoy the combat a lot more now. I'm still in wuss mode. But the only thing I still don't like about it compared to 2016 is probably the platforming that doesn't really make sense. So you've got a dash, you've got a double jump in the dash, and there's points in the platforming where there's medallions glowing just in the random air that give you an extra dash boost. So you jump, you do double jump, you dash into this thing, you get your dash automatically replenished, and I think you get a bonus one or something, so you can dash to the extra platform. But it just feels out of place in the world compared to 2016, where it was
a little bit more grounded in
It was grounded.
the reality.
All the shit wasn't there. There wasn't glowing rings and glowing items, and everything you picked up was on a body or on the ground or in a locker. Or
So it's kind of Battlefield versus Call of Duty.
I guess I have no comparison there to
Call of Duty is a little bit more arcadey.
Yeah.
You get the spinning power ups, whereas in Battlefield,
Yeah.
you pick up ammo off dead bodies.
100%. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's that. I got when I've got my PC hooked up, I will finish the last mission. The next one is also a PC game. I'd been wanting to play it since I saw it at Summer Games Fest, I think last year or the year before. The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Yep.
It's a side-scrolling 2.5D Lovecraftian platformer, basically. It's kind of got some Souls-esque. It's a roguelike. So you get killed.
that coming.
You get killed in combat, or you do something to fuck up. You get one chance to get back and pick up the
Thing
souls.
before the timer runs out.
Before you die again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gone forever. Inks, they're called. You get your upgrades. You upgrade your character as you go through. But the puzzles are fantastic. They're really fun, and they really rely on you being observant and putting things together. They don't hold your hand in doing it. They give you little bits and pieces in the books and the text that you pick up, but you have to make sure you can work the puzzles out. You've got to remember where they are. Can I go and do that one? And you'll be going along and you go, oh shit, I've got something that I can solve that one now. So you hightail it back there and you open a new section, and the progression that they've timed into your leveling up and your skill up is probably the best I've ever played in a game.
Yeah, wow.
You never feel godlike. I've probably played, I don't know, maybe half to 3/4 of it.
Yep.
And they just drip feed you everything, and they make you work out the puzzles. And
That's cool.
That just opens
like
up. And you cannot overpower, because you need to open the next area where they throw a little bit more at you.
Yep.
And then you get your stuff, and you can
progress a little bit
you progress a
more.
little bit
Yeah.
more, and you go through, and it's just so beautifully timed. It's a gorgeous game too. It's the character models, they're all a bit tall and lanky with overdone limbs. They're humans, but there's something a little off-putting about it. It's in that Lovecraftian world. You go into limbo. So in Benedict has a demon attached to him, and the demon has the ability to draw Benedict into a dead human's psyche, which is their limbo. And you go through and you unlock memories to advance the story, and the demon talks to you about things, and they have this sort of mostly a love relationship, but there is a little tiny bit of love-hate. But you do feel that he is working with these demons, and you do go, okay, the demon's a little nefarious. So is Benedict actually going to turn out to be the bad guy at the end of all this, or is he not? And so you have that really good, and it's not much dialogue. It's but it's once again it's just
enough to
enough.
make you think.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
It's a really, really wonderful game, and I'm so happy I got it and played it. And then the other one is the Dead Space remake. And good God, that game is gorgeous. Like, I didn't get out of the ship that you come in on off to the Ishimura before I stood under those sparks coming out of the roof and sent the video to you guys.
Yeah.
That was literally in the first ship, and I hadn't even walked out, and I stood there and just watched the sparks in the environment come out and just bounce off Isaac's suit, and it was amazing to watch. It was just I don't know, it might be Unreal Engine that they've used for it, but
I'm sure it would be.
it's just gorgeous. And they've done enough changes from the original
To make it worth replaying.
to definitely make it worth replaying. The anti-grav sections are all completely disorientating because you now have full free movement.
Yep.
In the original game, you could only go point to point.
Okay. Yep.
In this, you've got full 360-degree movement. Isaac twists and turns, and you completely
Lose your
fucks with
way
your head.
really quickly.
Especially when there's a boss fight in 0G. That really
that'll
screws
really
you.
fuck you up. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to aim and move and avoid, and just the scarcity of ammo, and make sure you're using the right weapons and health and stasis and all telekinesis and all the little bits of stuff you've got. having no HUD is still amazing,
Yep.
and having everything represented on his suit, I still love it.
Yeah.
More games need to do it. And just a beautiful, beautiful game, and just wonderful to play. It scares the shit out of me. I can only play it for about 10 minutes. But the tension's built, and I've been playing it through these headphones at my parents' place where I've stayed while we're doing renos. And there's so much more I'm hearing this time, which I don't know whether it was in the original game or not, but just whispers of like somebody saying, Isaac. Just like
No, they definitely would add that in for the remake, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just they got
New
so
audio
much
technologies
noise.
you can use and stuff.
Yeah. So much noise happening in the ship. You've got the engines humming and just like constant. You can hear the necromorphs in the roofs, in the air vents, and there's so much happening.
Yeah, right.
And then you've just got this. And you go, what was that? And it's just like it just leads you down the path of that Lovecraftian losing your mind madness side of things. And I do love playing with headphones, but this would be a game where I should have played with headphones from the very beginning.
Yeah, right.
Because I think I've probably
Funny you
missed a
say
lot.
that, because I've definitely started playing more games with my Sony, the 3D audio headphones.
Yeah.
And enjoying it so much more. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean, that's why I fell in love with surround sound early, and I've always had surround sound because and it's at a point now, and it's not my speakers or anything. It's just the configuration.
Yeah.
There are so many times that I've literally gotten up and I've paused a game, gotten up and opened the door because I know the door was knocking. It was the fucking video game.
Yeah.
Like it's that good at projecting sound from a specific direction now.
And Dead Space uses sound a lot. They
Which
specifically...
as a horror game, it really should.
Yeah.
So they specifically make sounds of your weapons or something that you do, a very similar sound to a necromorph bursting out of a wall vent.
Right.
So they
So
keep
you're always
these,
guessing as to whether or not
did I do that, or is it on? Is there something in the room with me? That sort of stuff, and they rush you. And I've just started to fall in love with the shotgun version of the gun in the game called the Force Gun, and it literally blows the flesh off the necromorphs.
Yeah, right.
They come at you.
I think I've seen it in some of the trailers
Yeah.
or the footage I checked out.
Because the other guns do it, but you don't really notice because it's so dark. So you just all the guns take flesh off them, but when they're up close and you hit them with the force gun, they end up a skeleton with some like giblets hanging off them. It's like incredible fidelity that they've got on the necromorphs as well. And you move into these areas through the Ishimura, the ship, where it's just noise, like an engine room or the asteroid cracking room, and it's just noise. You can't hear shit. And it's just they just bombard you with sound. And it's to throw that disorientation and make you feel uncomfortable. And it's just it's a great...
Just keep you on edge.
It's a fantastic use of sound. And I do remember from the original it was always a good use of sound, but they've just absolutely leveled it up for this one.
Yeah, right.
And to the point where...
Well, that's a sign as well of like a really solid remake.
Yeah. It's a recode as much as it is a remake.
You get to the point where you open a door to a room and you can tell it's going to be noisy in there, and you kind of don't really want to go in there because you're not going to be able to use that sense to hear the necromorphs come at you.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're being ambushed from behind, or something jumps at you, and it's just it's fucked, but it's great.
Really want to play it.
Are you winning, son, Peter?
I am. I got to keep this really short because we've got about 5-6 minutes worth of footage left before the camera dies. I'm playing. I went back to Red Dead Redemption 2, which I said I would do.
Yeah.
I'm only on chapter 2. I'm in no rush. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am doing I'm robbing houses and just random encounters, and I get lost. I get distracted. It's like I've got ADHD, but only inside that game. Mm-hmm. I've got a plan. I need to go to this part of the map. Oh, what's that? There's a shiny over there, and
dude, that's Skyrim.
It is very much similar to that. It's just like anytime I see white pings on my mini map, which means there's sound, shots fired or whatever, I have to go and explore. And the quality of the little stories that have no meaning to anything remind me of Witcher 3.
Yep.
There's just
But on steroids.
yeah.
Because it's so much more.
Yeah, yeah, and so much more frequent.
Yeah.
And sometimes it fucks me up because I'm not prepared for it. So I'm going into town for a reason, and then suddenly this guy's getting the shit kicked out of him. I'm going to go intercept that, and I want to get involved to protect him, except I've got my guns in my hands. So instead of getting into a fist fight, which was the design, these guys see my guns and start shooting at me. I shoot back, and suddenly I've got a bounty on my head because I had to kill them. It's like, fuck, man. Like, that didn't work out the way I had hoped.
No, you don't rush into into that situation, do you? Guns drawn, yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm definitely winning. I'm enjoying RDR too. It's a long, slow game, but I don't feel any time pressure at the moment for video games in this part of my life. So,
but also it's a long, slow game, but you don't feel like you should be rushing it.
Yeah,
I walk down
one of those games that just you're encouraged to just slow down and smell the roses.
Yep. Or the cow shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the horse shit.
Yeah.
Or the pig shit. Or the human shit.
There is human excrement in this game, yes.
And just, you're in Chapter 2, so you're in Valentine.
Yeah.
That is my favourite town.
Yeah, okay.
Some of them later on are fancier, but I love Valentine. You walk through that street and your feet sink into the mud. You get mud up your trousers, and it's just.
Although I found the French Quarter, like the bottom right. I can't remember that. Saint Denis. I enjoyed that for similar reasons. Because I've played Red Dead Online, I've explored the entire map for the game.
I wasn't saying Saint Denis because I forgot you'd done Red Dead Online.
Yeah.
Armadillo. Saint Denis at night is gorgeous.
Yes. Armadillo, we did that in RDR 1, and in fact it's a reimagining of the exact same map.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, meh, I've done like tumbleweeds and can I go down to the southern border and look at Mexico like I could in the first? No, you can't. It's a bit disappointing. No, it's a beautiful game though.
Wonderful.
That's it for me. That's the game I'm playing. And I think that might be it for the episode. Any closing thoughts? I want to have another beer now, just quietly.
Oh, good thing you got a whole box of them.
And open up Witcher board game.
Yeah, definitely.
I want you fuckers to hurry up and play Jedi Survivor. So, yep, it's fine.
Yep. Well,
do it.
I'm on Chapter 9 of Dead Space.
Yep.
So it's only got 10 chapters.
And I've only got about 300 hours left of RDR too.
Yeah.
That's your fault. That's a you problem.
I'll declare that you can do spoilers at some point. It's all good. No, it's fine.
All right. I'll wait.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Piss off.